We want to have a proper farewell on Sunday.
Elsewhere, Newcastle are asking for their supporters' opinions ahead of changing the club's crest in a bid to reflect the Magpies in the modern day. And tonight, Coventry host Sunderland in the first leg of their Championship playoff semi-final. It's live here on talkSPORT from 8 p.m.
We sit down here and we look at that card and we think to ourselves, well, yeah, I'm actually all in on Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barboza. I kind of like Devin Haney in his fight with Jose Ramirez, even though I would have liked Haney and Garcia to have gone straight back at it.
I agree.
Or maybe Garcia and Romero. So you kind of can't moan too much about the pre-fight matchmaking. You've got to have a go at the fighters.
I know,
because they didn't live up to it.
There's a horrible habit of
providing semi-finals,
and they don't work.
Yeah, and we've seen that with AJ and Wilder, and we've seen that a couple of times.
And it doesn't work out. I agree with you. In retrospect, and hindsight is a great
but pre-fight, you can't really moan too much about everything that was there.
No,
the fighters didn't deliver.
I thought that I went through a process watching Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia fight on the night where I thought, ooh, they really look like they need a tune-up. And Devin Haney was far too good in terms of his movement for Jose Ramirez, and it was, what was it, 143 pounds, and I just thought he looked gun-shy, and Ryan Garcia looked really out of sorts and not ready, and we had the tears in the dressing room afterwards. He wasn't ready. Throwing it forward, Tio Lopez didn't listen to his corner all night, to his father, and was pop-shotting, and he was brilliantly skillful against Arnold Barboza. Different levels, perhaps, and I still think he's the best at 140. I think he's the best out there at 140. But throwing it forward, we were chatting about this in the corridor before we came into this very intimate studio where we can almost touch each other. I really would love to see Ryan Garcia against Conor Benn. I think that's a massive fight. Bring Garcia over here to the UK. Obviously, we'll get Conor Benn and Chris Eubank next because it makes financial sense. And I've said it a million times to you, this is a sport, but as much of a sport, it's a business. And the business says Conor Benn's a star, Chris Eubank's a star. We're still talking about them. And Ryan Garcia needs to be in star fights. He and Haney, I think, is dead for now.
Just keep the powder dry on that. Me and you are going to talk extensively about it come the end of the show. And you're more than welcome to come and join us because it is a little bit of a different show tonight. Me and Gareth are obviously based in the studio. We've got the guys out in Nottingham. We're going to be bringing some live fights this evening from the Motorpoint. And that main event of Cacace and Wood is obviously the main talking point this evening. But following that main event, we will get stuck into the major talking points, one of which is that we've just been referring to there. Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. Should it be a rematch? Should they go in different directions? I'm sure you've got your own thoughts on that. 03717223344. We'd like to welcome you into the show for that conversation. I'm sure you've got thoughts as well on Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement and being rumoured to be getting a world title shot straight away after 4 years out the game. Again, come and join us for parts of that conversation.
Can I jump in on? Because I'm a big Pacquiao file. I covered 20 of his fights in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, and I want your views on this because I'm against him being able to step in.
We'll do it in the last hour.
Yeah, but tell us about that because it doesn't seem right that he gets a fight with Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight crown from nowhere after a loss to, was it Denis Ugas 4 years ago at the age of 46. Yeah. Don't get it.
Hopefully he gets voted into the Philippine Senate on Monday and it kind of puts everything to rest and he goes down that route. Anyway, that's all to come a little bit later on in the programme. We'll obviously give you a few previews as well as some of the schedules that are coming up here on talkSPORT over the next few weeks or so. But tonight our attention is on Nottingham. It is a fantastic arena. It always, I don't want to give it the kiss of death, but it always delivers something special. And it seems that tonight is one of those fights that I think is a fan-friendly fight. At the start of the year, Anthony Cacace was the IBF champion at Super Featherweight. He decided to renege that belt when the IBF called for Sugar Nunes as his mandatory challenger. He stepped away from that fight and wanted basically to say, listen, I want the bigger fights. I want the fights that are going to make me more money. I want the fights that are obviously going to get the fans' attention. Now, you can look at this two ways. You can look at it that he's walked away from the toughest challenge in his division with Sugar Nunes, who is definitely the next generation of fighter. But given the fact that he's 36 years of age now, Anthony Cacace, and he's coming to that Indian summer and that twilight, and it took him so long to get to the top of the mountain, I'm kind of a little bit forgiving in his attitude of going, no, I've probably only got 3 left, maybe 4 left. So I want to cash in and I want to get the biggest and legacy-defining ones. With all due respect, the Sugar Nunes fight, yeah, for the hardcore amongst us, I'm sure we're all into that. But it's very high risk and low reward. Whereas a fight tonight, yes, there's high risk because we know that Leigh Wood does pop a little bit, but there's also high reward. I'm sure he's being financially recompensed for it. And there's also, without any doubt, more eyeballs on this fight than there would be a fight with Sugar Nunes.
We're back to business again, aren't we? The sport being a business. And like you say, the IBF is now vacant because of the resignation and not fighting for that title. You mentioned the super featherweight division. We've got Emmanuel Navarrete, who is a brilliant fighter, the WBO champion, fights tonight. Yeah. And he's a brilliant, exciting fighter. That would have been a thriller if they could have done a unification.
He's probably the biggest named champion, isn't he?
I think he is. But you said it at the beginning. It's a very slumbering...
Yeah.
I don't want to be rude to anyone.
No.
130
There's no profile.
pounds.
There is no profile.
But there's no profile for them. And Leigh Wood has had that spectacular run with the loss to... the fight of the year with Michael Conlon, where he escaped with victory from the jaws of defeat. The loss and the win to Mauricio Lara, and obviously the win against Josh Warrington. Equally, Cacace Joe Cordina and Josh Warrington. He's looked phenomenal. Like you say, he's having an Indian summer. He's having a second life almost. They're both 36. They both deliver. They both throw down hard. They both like to come forward. It should deliver tonight.
It should. Are you worried about the activity levels of Leigh Wood? He's not been in the ring since the back end of 2023 when he beat Josh Warrington. Obviously, didn't fight all last year. He's now up in weight. That'll help him, obviously, hitting 130 rather than 126. Does that activity level or lack of at this stage of his career, does that concern you coming into this one tonight?
Of course it does. He's been out for nigh on 17 months, and you heard that in the philosophical recounting of camp by Ben Davison in the week, that they've got a philosophical attitude to this fight. Leigh Wood's already mentioned retirement this week, and he hasn't got a lot left, and that concerns me. Yeah. The 12th man is there with him, to use the football analogy, on the pitch, with 9,000 baying fans from Nottingham tonight. The little village of Gedling will be on fire tonight, where Carl Froch is also from. I think he's joining us at some point.
Excellent.
Apparently.
Excellent.
Apparently. Froch on fighting, you never know where he's going to be. But there are lots of question marks about Leigh Wood, and I think, reading between the lines on what Mr. Davidson has said, and Ben is a very good coach, I think they're going to gamble, and they're going to go early and attack Cacace, in my view. Okay.
Well, let's get into Nottingham, because Spencer Oliver, John Rawling are there ready to rock and roll. We're waiting for the co-main event of Ezra Taylor. Spence, if you can hear me, whilst you're obviously getting yourself ready to call us through a couple of fights this evening, you've been across this throughout the whole course of the week. What have you made of both Anthony Cacace and Leigh Wood's demeanour as they build up towards tonight's main event, mate?
Well, listen, look, they're both at that stage of their career. Good to speak to you both, guys. Yeah, good. They're at that stage of their career, 36 years of age, and with Cacace giving up that IBF title, we spoke last night, Adam, didn't we, about the situation. He recognised it's all about now making the right moves and what makes sense financially as well. This is a business as well as a sport, and he was getting paid 3 times as much to box Leigh Wood in his backyard, coming to the Lions Den here at the Motorpoint Arena. And let me tell you, it is absolutely packed to the rafters here, and they're not all Leigh Wood fans. Anthony Cacace has also brought a lot of fans over as well, hasn't he, John?
Certainly has, and they're in full voice as well. It's going to be a real bad pitch atmosphere. I've got a lot of respect for Cacace coming over here. You know, he's getting more money than he would have done if this fight had taken place in Belfast, and he's really coming into the Lions' Den effectively. They're going to be absolutely behind Leigh Wood here, but Cacace, I think, is in the form of his career, and he's, I think, justifiably, with the bookies, he's named close to a 2-1 on favourite.
But I will say, guys, that both guys have looked brilliant this week. They both know what they're going into. Gareth, you're right in what you said. Stylistically, this will be a barnstorm, and with the atmosphere in it as well, both guys knowing that for the loser, there is nowhere else to go. It's probably the end of the road at this stage of the career, and for the winner, there's big paydays, big opportunities out there. So they will leave it all in the ring, that is for sure.
Listen, we'll be back with you two in a moment or two, because we've got a co-main event between Ezra Taylor and Troy Jones. You've highlighted, Gareth, at the start of the show, both guys are 36 years of age, but there's a difference between age in, obviously, numbers and then age when it comes to boxing miles. And there's a lot more miles on the Leigh Wood clock than there is on the Anthony Cacace clock, isn't there, coming into tonight's fight?
Yeah, well, he's one of those guys who digs down deep into the trenches whenever he fights. He's a fantastic hooker. With his punches, he delivers. He's always been a knockout artist. He's always got the power to right the wrongs at any moment in a fight, and that's his opportunity tonight. He's got to push Cacace back. Cacace is a brilliant front foot fighter. I think they'll forgive me for saying that he likes to come forward. Leigh, I think, will have been working on counterpunching a lot tonight as well. As I say, my feeling, as I said, reading between the lines of Ben Davison and Barry Smith and the team there at the Ben Davison Performance Centre, is that they're going to gamble tonight, and they will gamble hard, and he will start hard and start fast. But he's also got a great engine. And I mean, honestly, I don't know whether there's a bit of Wood around, but I don't want to give it the curse of the commentator or the jinx, but it almost has to deliver this fight in some way or other. Maybe both men go down, both men go through it. There's more miles on the clock, yes, of Leigh Wood, but that extra £126 up to 130 will have made a huge difference at his age.
I know the boys have just been insinuating there that there's quite a few that have travelled over from Northern Ireland to support Anthony Cacace as well tonight. But that 12th man that you referred to, Leigh Wood's going to need that tonight because he's been out for a long time. Yeah. There's a few questions as to where he's at right now, and especially in this weight division where he's fighting a guy that is fully filled out at super featherweight, a guy that's been the world champion, a guy that's got that newfound confidence, a guy that's in form. He's going to need the crowd on his side tonight, isn't he, Leigh Wood? He's going to need that little bit of extra something that maybe some of the fighters in Times Square last week were lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could just feel it there with John and Spencer and Ed and Romario, our team there, and Adam, our sound guy, our technician, that place is ramping up. Obviously, Ezra Taylor, one of Frank Warren's rising stars at Queensberry, and Warren Promotions is going to fight next, and he's a fantastic talent at light heavyweight. That will whip up the crowd in some way. He's fighting undefeated Troy Jones, of course. Brilliant fight at light heavyweight. That's a great fight. It's going to deliver. It's going to whip the crowd up into a storm. I remember going many times to Nottingham to see Carl Froch fight, and it's a real fighting city. They love their boxing there, and in a way, Leigh Wood has revived boxing there. Not only is he from the same village, as I say, Gedling in Nottingham, but he's revived that love of the sport there. He will, as you say, be roared on by the crowd tonight, and he will go out on his sword.
Well, that's the main event, and we're looking forward to that. That's coming up a little bit later on. We're also going to be back talking all things boxing, so if you want to get involved in the conversation, you're more than welcome to do so on 03717 223344. You've just heard the dulcet tones of the boys that are going to be calling you through the fights. I can see the ring warms currently taking place for the co-main event, so without any further ado, let's get back over to Nottingham, to the Motorpoint Arena, because we're going to have Ezra Taylor versus Troy Jones, and calling you through it, Spencer Oliver. But first, John Rawling.
Thank you very much, Adam. Really looking forward to the action here tonight. I think it could be two cracking fights we're bringing to you now. Troy Jones is making his way to the ring, undefeated fighter from Birmingham. He's 12-0, made his debut 4 years ago, and he's arguably maybe the more seasoned fighter, but whether he's got the punch power of Ezra Taylor remains to be seen. His last fight was in November last year when he defeated Michael Stevenson on points to defend his English light heavyweight title, and here now comes Ezra Taylor.
Ezra the Cannon Taylor!
And he's going to get a huge reception, Spencer.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's a huge character. He's Ezra Taylor, local lad. He's from here in Nottingham, and they really like him. And let me tell you, 11-0, 8 KOs. This kid can whack, but he's not just a puncher. He's got great boxing IQ. He's very good talker, big outside the ring. And if he can deliver inside the ring, like I think he can, John, he's going to put his name right up there in a mix, in a stacked light heavyweight division right now.
And he's loving the fact that he's a co-main event here tonight. He made his debut here in 2020, and he was itching to get back here to the Nottingham Arena, which is such an atmospheric arena. Big sport in this city this year. We've got Nottingham Forest against Leicester City just down the road tomorrow, and here now the local favourite Ezra Taylor is whetting the appetite for Leigh Wood's return to the ring against Anthony Cacace later on around about 10 o'clock. Ezra Taylor, well, what a figure he is. He stands 6'7", huge for a light heavy.
Well, listen, that is what the box rec says, 6'7". When he rocked up with me yesterday, we done a hit into one of the shows, into the White and Jordan show. I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, you're not 6'7", mate. No, he's 6'2". They've got that wrong. He's actually 6'2", but trust me, the kid can fight.
It is now time for our co-main event. It is scheduled for 10 rounds, and it'll be for the vacant WBA Continental Gold Light Heavyweight Championship. Brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors: Riyadh Season, 32 Red, Unibet, That Prize Guy, and Global Next Trade. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Steward in Charge Matt Harris, along with the World Boxing Association. President Gilberto Mendoza Jr., Supervisor Jesper Jensen, Timekeeper Martin Fallon. Our 3 judges assigned will be Michael Hook of Sweden, John Latham of England, and Amar Sakrawi of France. Our referee in charge will be Bob Williams of England. Introducing to you first, fighting tonight out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing black with orange and weighed in officially at 173.8 pounds. Coming to us from Birmingham, England, he brings an undefeated record with 12 wins, 6 of his 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the current English light heavyweight champion, Troy Jones. His opponent across the ring in this co-main event, fighting tonight out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing white with black and weighed in the same as his opponent, 173.8 pounds. Undefeated, he has 11 wins, 8 of his 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the current WBC International Light Heavyweight Champion from right here, Nottingham, England, Ezra the Cannon Taylor.
Bob Williams centering, waiting for the 2 fighters to join him, where he'll give the final words of instruction before a battle of 2 fighters trying to avoid losing undefeated records.
Okay, gentlemen, obey my commands. In the event of a knockdown, the fighter standing will go to the furthest corner and stay there. Protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves.
The 2 fighters who know each other well. They've sparred in the past, but this now is business. So much talent in this country. Callum Smith, Anthony Yard, Joshua Buatsi, Dan Aziz, the list goes on. These 2 guys are looking to make a bit of a statement here and move into that coveted place in the British top 10.
Yep. As I said, Ezra Taylor, a name you may not have heard of, but trust me, you will be hearing more of him. Troy Jones, a decent fighter himself, undefeated. Huge opportunity for both of these guys here tonight. And it's which one can shine.
Well, Troy Jones said, yeah, we know each other well, and I like him. He's a nice bloke, but when we get in the ring, I'm going to be professional, and that means inflicting hurt on the Nottingham man. Nothing between them in the early exchanges. Taylor with a good left-hand lead, both of them fighting out at an orthodox stance, and Troy Jones with real Canelo-type colouring. He's a redhead.
Yeah, heavy-handed Taylor, and he started taking center of the ring, hands held high, working behind that jab and trying to loop the right hand over the lead left hand of Jones. It's a good start, this, from Taylor.
He's got a quality jab and huge reception he got. You probably heard the roar of the crowd when Thomas Triber said, from Nottingham. My goodness, people here are committed and right with him.
Yeah, we've had some great fighters in the past from Nottingham, Kirtland Lang, Errol Bomber, Graham, more recently. And, you know, you look at some of the big talents that come from here, and now we're getting another one in Ezra Taylor.
Thomas Triber, the MC, made his debut in a British ring, announcing Froch versus just a Canadian guy called
Lucien Brute.
No. Before that, going way back to 2008, and he did introduce Lucien Brute, but he was also there then.
Jean-Pascal.
Pascal.
Yeah, we've seen some massive fights here, and as you say, the Nottingham crowd, they really love, appreciate their boxing. And they could be getting a new star here in Ezra Taylor, but he's not got it easy tonight against the unbeaten Troy Jones.
Jones is doing okay. He's getting a bit of success clubbing into the body area of Taylor with some decent hooks. There's a good left hand though from Jones. Real snap in that hook.
Yeah, you felt that thud into the side of the rib cage there from Taylor, but Jones done a good job of turning Taylor on the ropes there. He's up for this as well, working well on the inside. Good little spell this from Jones.
Yep, he's no means been overawed in this opening round. He's got plenty of support as well, not too far away, of course, Birmingham from Nottingham, and he's got plenty of fans who've made their way over to support him. He's coming into this on the back of 2 10-round points wins. He does tend to mark up. He's got very pale skin. He will redden, I'm sure, as the fight progresses, but it's been an interesting opening round and not too much between them. Good left hand from Jones. Last big scoring shot of a fascinating opening round.
Yeah, good end to the round there from Jones. He slammed the body shots in, short right uppercut as well, but overall I think that Ezra Taylor done enough to win the round. He started very well, working well behind the jab, and he was looking for that trademark right hand that he likes to whip over the top. Jones was protecting himself well from that, but it was a good close round, that one, and for me Ezra Taylor just nicked it.
A reminder that you can watch along with us ringside here in Nottingham. Head over to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel right now to get involved. This is the main support. Ezra Taylor against Troy Jones. And a bit of Tom Jones to entertain the crowd.
Why not? And the crowd are certainly getting into it, aren't they? They're getting into this fight.
Round 2. Well, there wasn't a lot between them that opening round, but Ezra Taylor, the local man, doing enough, and he's looking to uncork big shots in the early stages of this round. He really does have fast hands. He's got a long reach, you could say good levers, and he's really looking to detonate big punches on Troy Jones.
Yeah, Jones doing a good job of protecting himself though, hands held very high. Taylor again just holding centre of the ring, hands high himself, just looking for the uppercut, misses that one by a cat's whisker and comes back with a right hand as well.
You're on talkSPORT now. This is our main support fight for the main event tonight, which is coming up sometime, we reckon, just after 10. Anthony Cacace against Leigh Wood, live here with myself, John Rawling, and Spencer Oliver alongside me.
Yeah, great action here in the second round. Jones having a success with that right hand. Taylor again meeting Jones, centre of the ring, hands held high, but Jones is happy to be there. Landed a good body shot there as well, Jones. Good action here in the second round.
And not a lot between them in terms of physical strength at this stage. Maybe the further it goes and fatigue sets in, we might find a difference, but really Jones is matching Taylor for strength. That's a good right hand he lands there. Taylor comes back with one of his own over the left-hand lead of Troy Jones. This is an interesting fight. Good body shot again from Jones, and you get the impression that the styles of these two are going to gel. That's going to unfold into a fascinating fight.
Yeah, big left hook to the body again there from Jones, and he's happy to meet Taylor in the centre of that ring. It's all about who can command that, who can take that right now, who's going to dictate the pace here, because no one really stamped their authority in this second round. A real seesaw, action swinging one way, then the other. Another good left hook to the body again there from Jones.
And another one, that one looks straight low, and is Bob Williams, the referee, going to just tell him to keep the punches up? No, he has a word with Ezra Taylor about dragging his man down, and Taylor now lands a solid left hook of his own into the pale midsection of Troy Jones. Good shot again from Jones, but again it looked as though it was a little bit low there. I do notice that Taylor's shorts have dragged up very high, Spencer, but a few of Jones's shots have been on the belt.
Yep, and I think that Bob Williams is going to have to keep an eye on that one. He's not said anything just yet, the referee, but he'll have to keep an eye on that, because both guys are slamming shots into the body, and as I say that, Taylor slams a clubbing right hand round the side.
Gave the opening round narrowly to Ezra Taylor. this has been another really competitive round. Has Jones done enough to win this one?
Yeah, I think Jones has done enough to win this round. He's been pushing Ezra Taylor back, and he will be pleased for that. Both guys stare, and Jones walks back to his corner with a smile on his face.
Right, let's go into the Taylor corner, where Malik Scott is the chief cornerman for Ezra Taylor.
Stop shooting just the right hand. Because you're turning it inside. You hit me, I hit you. I don't want that. I want you to be taking control and staying in control. His hand is right here for the jab all day long. But you're wanting to go here. If you is going to go there, catch and shoot off the catches. They're catching, shooting fire. Violently though, with intent. You understand what I'm saying? Get back to the jab with your torso down. His hand is right here. Get back to that jab. Anytime you shoot that right hand to the body, put the hook in.
Meanwhile, while you're listening to that, Troy Jones very quickly up off his stool, and Leigh Beard, his trainer, in that red corner on the other side of the ring. He's delighted with the way that last round went.
Yeah, great advice there from Malik Scott, by the way, saying don't let it go, you hit me, I hit you. You need to take command, you need to take control, and that's exactly what's missing so far. Neither man has taken control of this one yet. This is all to fight for here in the third round, and listen to the atmosphere.
They are loving their boxing, and the Nottingham fans are in full voice for Ezra Taylor, who's trying to start this round fast. Bob Williams, who retired recently as a working fireman, he's the referee tonight and keeping a very close watch. But it's been pretty fair so far. A few of Jones's left hands have strayed low, and there was another one there. And he walks straight into a solid left-hand lead from Taylor as he gets in range, and a nice uppercut as well from the Nottingham man.
Yeah, good work again there from Jones to the body, and you're right, elbowing borderline, but the referee's happy where they're landing, and that's his job. Nice right hand come back there from Taylor, but yeah, the action swinging one way, then the other. No one actually got hold of this yet.
Terrific atmosphere here tonight. 9,000 here at the Nottingham Arena. A complete sellout. Watching the action here. Our main event coming up for you later on talkSPORT. Anthony Cacace, the Belfast man, against Leigh Wood, the Nottingham folk hero.
Yeah, what a fight we've got in store there straight after this one, and this one is brewing up nicely as well. Taylor again switches the attacks to the body. No effect though on Troy Jones, who's happy to stand there and trade with him.
Troy Jones just has the look of a man who is really prepared to get into the trenches tonight and turn this into something of a boxing war. He's a strong, rough fight, and he's right in Taylor's face now as the referee separates them and pushes Jones back. And Taylor just needs, you suspect, to up his work rate a bit here, because I think he's in danger of losing another round here on work rate as much as anything.
Yep, well, Taylor's trainer Malik Scott, who was a good fighter himself and has trained a lot of good fighters, he understands it. He says, listen, we can't go tit for tat, you one punch and then let Jones go one punch. You need to take control, and he's not done that here. You're right, John, I think Jones is just doing enough in this round as well.
Well, Leigh Beard is something of a master strategist. He's a very well-respected trainer, and we're going to be hearing from him in the Jones corner in less than 10 seconds, and Jones is really piling on the pressure as the seconds tick away in this third round, and I think that's another round to Jones, Spenny, before we hear from Leigh Beard.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 rounds to 1 from Jones, but let's see if we can get into the corner there of Troy Jones.
The right hand up that. Back, bang. Okay, keep your chin down again. Good. It's tight on the inside, yeah? Hey, you don't like it on the inside, mate. You've got to get that. When you get here, mate, you've got to put it in. Go, bam, straight away. When you get here, mate, lean over here, yeah, shoot up there. Okay, lean over, shoot up there, yeah, double. Not one, bam, bam. And then a little punch with the elbow, okay? Good. Here's the shot. When you're at that mid-range, yeah? You know when you break out, bang, bang, okay? Oh, here's Troy.
And again, he's very quickly off his stool in that corner. Got up off his stool with something like 15 seconds of the break remaining. Meanwhile, Ezra Taylor continues to be lectured by Malik Stott, and we now go into the 4th round, and we have, as we suspected, a fascinating fight here.
Yeah, all about opportunity, and Troy Jones so far has taken that opportunity. He's coming to the Lions Den here at the Motorpoint Arena, and, you know, a place where Ezra Taylor is from in Nottingham, and he's delivering in there right now.
He's doing well. This is the 4th round of a 10-rounder here. The WBA Continental Gold Light Heavyweight title is at stake for what it's worth. What it is worth for this one is that whoever wins here will continue his undefeated record. Taylor undefeated in 11, Jones undefeated in 12, and move closer to a place at the elite level of the light heavyweight division in Britain. And again, Jones starting well here, thuds home, another solid left hook into the body.
Yeah, Taylor needs to take a grip of this now, because he just got caught with a good left hook to the head as well. And like I say, Jones, he's comfortable in there right now. And Taylor, just screws the left hand up there. That was a great shot. Really jarred the head back of Jones.
Yeah, that was quality, and I think Jones felt the weight of that one. He can punch, he can bang a bit, Ezra Taylor, and if he lands clean, as Jones tries to throw a big right hand, and it just whistles through thin air just in front of the nose of Ezra Taylor. But if Taylor starts to land his big shots, then I think the edge in power might lie with the Nottingham man, the older man, at 30 against Troy Jones, who's 26.
Yeah, Taylor, if he wants to turn this around, just needs to up that work rate, start turning the screw a little bit. As I say, Jones on the back foot, back against the ropes there, and Taylor misses with a big left hook, comes back with a good right hand. That causes a smile from Jones there.
Yeah, trace of a smile, and that, I think, was recognition that he got caught and outspeeded and outskilled by Ezra Taylor at that moment. But now he's back onto the front foot, pushing Taylor back onto the ropes. Referee has to split them. Action underway once again, and there's that overhand right again from Taylor, which he doubled up with earlier in the round with 2 scoring shots, and he manages to slip inside an attempted big right hand counter from Jones.
Yeah, just under 40 seconds left in round 4, and it's been a better round here for Ezra Taylor, who's found success with that left hand lead, and the right hand's over the top. He's just starting to pick the pace up a little bit, listening to his trainer in the corner and saying, listen, son, you need to get out there and start doing something.
Bob Williams reading a bit of a riot act to Troy Jones about pulling him down with his right arm, dragging him into an arm lock and pulling him down onto punches. And Bob Williams is a no-nonsense referee, and he won't stand for it. And Taylor lands a couple of meaty-looking shots, and he's starting to open up now in the final 10 seconds of this 4th round, and maybe his best little spell of the fight so far. But back comes Jones. 1, 2, 3 body shots of his own, and some real red-blooded action in the closing seconds of that round.
Yeah, brilliant action there from both guys, but especially Ezra Taylor, who put a lovely right hand over the top, that trademark shot that he throws, and you just see the knees dip a little of Jones, but Jones, to his credit, come back with some good shots of his own. But that was a much better round there for Ezra Taylor. I tell you what, John, all to fight for here. I've got it 2 rounds apiece, but this now looks like there's few more twists and turns in this contest, because both guys know that they need to establish themselves in this one.
And aren't the crowd loving it? You know, often when you get these support fights, it can be a little bit of a tepid atmosphere, because everybody's thoughts are on the big one coming up later, which is Cacace against Leigh Wood, the local hero. But this one is really entertaining them, as indeed is Emerald.
Yeah, we was waiting for this to catch fire, and it just started to do that at the end of the 4th round. Here we go, beginning of round 5.
Who's going to seize control? The crowd don't want to stop singing. First scoring shot of the round is a right to the body from Jones, but back comes Taylor with faster punches. Not able to contact as yet, but he's looking to target the head. Switches the attack to the body, jabs towards the body, and Jones again ties him up and again gets his man in an arm lock, but this time he doesn't drag him round. so the referee doesn't get involved.
Yep, Jones standing centre of the ring, holding his hands up high, protecting himself from that right hand over the top. He's done a good job so far, Jones, and we just need to see him using a bit of variety now, to starting to mix the shots up and try and take control of the contest again, because the last round for me, Taylor just seemed to get a grip of it.
Television commentators, incidentally, have got Taylor ahead by 39 to 37. Not sure I can agree with that one, but there you go. It's a subjective game, and if you've got one round different, which is the difference between Carl Frampton and you, Spenny, then you do get that disparity.
Yep, I've got it all levels at the moment. There could have been a couple of rounds that were very close, but that's the way that I see this one. Oh, it's a fight for a big left hook, though. Landed there from Ezra Taylor. Best shot of the fight.
Back comes Jones with body shots, but again a nice short right hand, crisp shot from Ezra Taylor, who's starting to find his range here. Another left hand from Jones straight low, and the referee quietly said to him, keep them up, and fair play to Taylor. No play acting from him. Can't be too nice getting a big left hook between your legs.
That's not the most pleasant, trust me, but sometimes you just got to get on with it. If the referee's not getting involved, then you got to bite down. This is her business, and it's tough in there, and that's what these guys have got to do. They've got to tough it out, because trust me, both sides are landing big shots, and now it's Jones's turn to have a bit of success.
Jones just struggling to get his breath. I don't know if his nose has been damaged slightly, but he just seems to be struggling a bit more with his breathing than Taylor. And his nose has gone. There's blood now seeping from the left nostril of Troy Jones, and that could be a big moment in this fight. We're only in the 5th round of 10. Long way to go, and Taylor's power and accuracy is starting to reap dividends.
Yeah, Jones is trying to pick out, he's trying to go for him, and go with him here, but you can see that Taylor is just starting to get success. Big left hook to the head, followed by the left uppercut there. Good round this from Ezra Taylor, who's just starting to ooze confidence.
Lovely chopping right hand as well from Taylor at the end of that last exchange. And the bell goes to end a 5th round, which was a Taylor round. So Jones is under pressure, his nose damaged, and we go into his corner now, where he's with his trainer, Leigh Wood.
Once you fucking start the attack yourself, if you step out here, little face, and then straight up, bang, tap down to the body. Okay? Make sure you're maintaining that accuracy, don't just throw shots anywhere. When he goes here, go back, counter attack, bang, bang, okay? Come straight away, okay? Outside shots, get a chance here, bang, shot, bang to the body, yeah? Mid-range, long-range, short, straight hands, yeah? Here. Up and down, nice and sharp, like in the change room, yeah? Straight bang, okay? Okay, got it. Sit down. Go, Troy.
He's up off his stool again, ready for action. And now we're going to the second half of the fight. You're listening to Ezra Taylor against Troy Jones, 2 undefeated light heavyweights who are making a very, very entertaining fight indeed. It's a Nottingham versus Birmingham battle, and at this stage, halfway point, well, I've got Ezra Taylor just ahead, Spenny. Yeah, and he's come on strong in the last couple of rounds.
I'm with you, John. I think those last couple of rounds have just edged him in front now. For the first time in this contest, he just seemed to turn and screw, pick it up a little bit, and it's now Jones's turn to find something he's going to need to, as a big right hand slams in the side of the head again there. Good work again from Taylor.
Well, he was trying to work the body, wasn't he, Jones? But it's becoming a little bit telegraphed and a little bit predictable. And when he dips and goes for that left hook to the body, Taylor is absolutely ready to whip in his danger punch, which is the right overhand, the right cross, really, and that's his danger punch, and that's which caused the damage to the nose of Troy Jones.
Yeah, you just suspect that Ezra Taylor has more to his game. You know, there's more in the locker, and you just worry now for Troy Jones. Is that it? What we've seen, is that the best he's got? Has he got a B plan? Because he's going to need it, John.
It's going to be a tough fight now, this one, as Taylor dodges away from Jones, tries to land a big right hand, but it whistles through thin air. A couple of clubbing shots to the body by Jones, but the snap is just starting to go out of his punches a little bit here in this 6th round, and Ezra Taylor is starting to get on top. There's another of those trademark right crosses which he whips into the head of Troy Jones, who responds bravely. He lacks nothing in terms of heart and endeavour. He's on the front foot trying to carry the fight to Ezra Taylor, but Taylor just looks as though he's just maybe technically the superior man.
Yeah, Jones is starting to dig deep now and bite down on his gum shield. I tell you what, he's losing his shape just a little bit, and Ezra Taylor whips in the 1-2 to the body, right hand over the top as well. Good work this from Taylor, good spell in the fight, and you just sense that he's taking over here.
Another left hand low from Troy Jones, and Bob Williams tells him again to keep his punches up. Lovely there from Taylor. Right hand and a left hand. Still Jones is on the front foot. Still he's biting down on his gun shield, right in the face of Taylor, and thuds in 2 big hooks to the body. He's pushing Taylor back with his forearm. That's not allowed, and the referee now splits them, comes between them, and he's going to have a word. Yeah, it is for the use of the forearm. He's not going to allow Troy Jones to do that, and Jones is getting onto thin ice here.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here, Jones, but he just sense that's what happens, John, when the desperation creeps in. You start doing silly things, making silly mistakes. You just felt that he was losing his shape a little bit there, Jones. Big finish to the round again there from Taylor as he walks back to the corner, oozing confidence.
Another round for Ezra Taylor, we reckon. Adam and Gareth in the studio.
Yeah, the momentum is now with Ezra Taylor, which is, you know, a little bit upsetting because I thought Troy Jones started really, really well, Gareth. He had a good swing in those first 4 rounds, but he just looks like, as Spencer was just explaining there, looks like he's unravelling just a touch.
Well, we've always seen Jones in his career so far have the punch variety, the power, the confidence in himself, and we saw that for the first 5 rounds. And as I was saying to you as we watch it in the studio with our brilliant commentators over there on ringside, that you feel that Ezra Taylor's, he knows he's got almost world-class power, and he can rely on that as the fight goes on. I think he'll get a late stoppage in this fight.
Seconds out, round 7. I think you could well be right, Gareth. We're into the 7th round now. He won that last round clearly, and on my card and Spencer's card, he's taken 3 on the spin, and Jones is in a lot of trouble here. Taylor, he's got the edge in power, I think, as well. He's a superbly conditioned athlete. You only need to look at him to see the sort of shape that he's in, and he just has that little bit of edge in mobility, and he's finding better angles, better punch variety than Troy Jones, and I think that's the difference, really.
Yeah, Taylor, his accuracy's brilliant, punch selection's good as well. As I said before, this contest started, it's a kid to watch out for, and he's sort of proving us right now, because he's upped his game in the last couple of rounds, and Jones now seems to have run out of ideas. Can he do something different here in round 7?
Well, he's ploughing forward, he's trying to be the aggressor, trying to be the one to catch the 3 judges' eyes, and he thuds in another couple of body shots and another one, but as he dropped the right hand, he was punished with a very sweet left-hand counter from Taylor.
Yeah, Jones bleeding heavily from the nose again now. Good left hook from Taylor, landed just moments ago. Jones again pushing forward, looking to find something. You just feel that there's a sense of urgency, and he gets clubbed with another right hand to the head as well.
Well, you've got to praise his heart. He's really carrying the fight to Ezra Taylor as Troy Jones, the undefeated red-headed Birmingham fighter, onto his shoulder, tries to throw a body shot, does, but he's punished with a left hand from Taylor, who's got real edge in hand speed, but Jones pushes his man back again, but he can't find any space to unleash any punches before the referee breaks them.
No, he certainly can't. He's showing a lot of character, and Ezra throws a big left hand, just misses there with that left hand, comes through with the right hand, and Jones's face now looking a mess, bleeding heavily from the nose as he pushes forward, showing so much character, Jones, but is that enough?
The Jones corner are getting excited though. They're, I think, feeling that his pressure is just getting Taylor to look a little bit more disorganised, and he physically pushes Taylor across the ring into to his own corner, misses with a big left hook, then pushes his man back with a forearm again, and he's got his man in the corner, gets a left hook in, which looked low to me. Nothing comes back from Taylor. There was one little chopping right hand, but it's all Jones, and a huge effort going in from the Birmingham man in this round, and he's winning this round right now, and my goodness, he needed to, but off the ropes comes Taylor. 1-2 left hands, and a right hand, and an uppercut, and a left hook, and listen to the crowd respond.
They're really getting into it behind their man, and now Taylor in the ring showboating as he gets his head pushed back. Troy Jones trying everything here, but Taylor says, I'm having none of this, son. He turns it around with 1, 2, 3 left hooks to the head, shots to the body as well. Great round, close round, the best round from Jones for some time, John.
Yeah, he had a massive effort there, and certainly for the first 2.5 minutes, he was the one who was bossing it. But when Taylor came back off the ropes in those closing seconds of the round, there was such hand speed, such quality, such accuracy, and such good footwork.
Yeah, there really was. It was quality work there, but you just got to take your hat off to Troy Jones. He's got this opportunity, and the kids come, and he's giving absolutely everything. He showed a lot of courage there, a lot of heart, because he's been taking some big shots. The nose is bleeding heavily. He must be struggling to breathe with that, but he done enough there to nick the round. Now let's see if Ezra Taylor can turn it around here in round 8.
Well, Jones needs, I reckon, to win the last 3 rounds if he's going to win this fight, and he will give it everything. You can guarantee that. We already know this lad from Birmingham has a tremendous fighting heart, but has he got the power and the technical ability to match Ezra Taylor in these last 3 rounds? He's gone forward onto the front foot again, trying to boss it from there. Good left to the body. Then back comes Taylor with a right of his own over the top, aimed towards the head. Comes in with a right uppercut as well. But so much strength and determination from Jones, and he's landing some shots as he pushes him back into the corner on the far side of the ring.
Yeah, he's really giving it a go here. Jones whipped in the body shot there. Got to be careful he doesn't get caught walking in though. Taylor just whipping that right hand, looking to creep the right hand round the back of the head there. Good work again with a left hand from Taylor. Jones, as I say, got to be careful he doesn't walk onto something here.
Both of these lads stand over 6 foot. Taylor, 30 years old, the older man, Troy Jones, 26. Neither of them have tasted defeat. Taylor may be the classier operator. Sheer guts and determination, though, from Troy Jones, but he's absorbing more as he comes in close here. Coming into range, he gets in with a couple of body shots, but he'd taken a solid right hand from Taylor as he gave himself the opportunity to throw those punches from inside, from in close. His face is reddening now, as well as the blood coming from his nose. There's damage coming around the eyes of Troy Jones, and Ezra Taylor is trying to land power shots here, and he doubles up with the jab. 1-2, and nothing coming back from Jones as he leans on in desperation, trying to maybe just buy a few seconds of respite.
Yeah, he's trying to salvage something from somewhere, Jones, isn't he? I mean, 10 out of 10. But, you know, courage, grit, determination, gets caught with a big left hook, goes straight back in there, listen to the crowd, uppercut, right hand again there. This is a good spell here from Taylor.
This is brilliant work from Taylor. He landed 2 absolute pinches, perfect right uppercuts in that exchange. Now back comes Jones with shots to the body. He looks into his corner as he pushes Taylor back, and lots of encouragement, of course, coming from Lee Beard and the rest of his team there. Doubles up on the hook. 1, 2, 3, and an uppercut from Troy Jones. Great work from the Birmingham man. His best little spell of the fight, and it's catching the judge's eyes because it's coming in the last 30 seconds, and he's really powering on the pressure out of desperation as much as anything. And another tremendous 3 minutes of boxing. We're going to the blue corner now and hear how Malik Scott, Ezra Taylor's American trainer, hear how he's reading this and what advice he's giving.
Right. Listen to me. All that hard work you was doing. This is what it was for. But these moments, now you have to step on the gas and get a kid out of here that's not on your level. And you know how you do that? Like a professional. Hit your shots with 2, 3, and 4s. No single shots. You're hurting him more and more and more. When I say keep beating him up, that don't mean get close to him and not do nothing. That means keep getting to the liver, keep getting around to the rib, bring it up the middle, get with the hook. You understand what I'm saying?
Dig from that well.
Listen to me. What I want you to do is here, and go with the sharpness shoe, the one that we work on.
Advice going all the way up to the barrel. What did you make of that, Spencer?
I tell you what, that was world-class corner work there. The advice that he was giving him, he's saying, listen, you need to get this kid out of here. If you're what we think you are, you can go out there and deliver. Now, up it, son. That's the sort of work, the sort of conversations that are needed in corners in fights like this.
Well, I've got him ahead. I've got him clearly ahead. But clearly, his corner man, Malik Scott, he wants to see him deliver some real quality in the remaining 2 rounds. We're in the 9th of 10 in our chief support to the main event coming up later for you on talkSPORT, the home of boxing. Anthony Cacace against Leigh Wood. This is Ezra Taylor against Troy Jones, the Nottingham man. Ezra Taylor, well, he may be ahead, but Jones just keeps on coming. He has such a fighting heart.
Yeah, win, lose or draw, Jones is going to come out a winner in this one because his stock will rise. He's the kid that no one really knew about. Although he's 12-0, 6 KOs, he's been boxing low-key. We didn't know exactly how good he was. Ezra Taylor, on the other hand, there's a lot of talk about this kid, and he talks the talk. And I tell you what, he's walked the walk so far. He's shown a lot of character as well. What a fight here, round 9.
Yeah, I think Taylor's landed the more punches. He's had greater accuracy. So much effort from Jones, but a lot of his shots have not been finding the target. And who's going to dominate these last 2 rounds? Because it might still be up for grabs as Jones pushes Taylor back onto the ropes and has to absorb a flash right hand as he does so. And the referee splits them and shouts break once more.
Yeah, I tell you what, he felt that right hand, John, because it was a clubbing shot round the side and he was happy to hold there, Jones. There was like a delayed reaction and he's just gone back now, shook his arms out down by his side. Fatigue now setting in, and is Ezra Taylor just starting to pick it up here?
Maybe. The blood continues to flow from Jones's nose. His right eyebrow is swelling up as well. There's damage around that right eye, and he's certainly going to look like he's been in a fight when this one ends. Lovely hook to the body from Taylor, beautifully timed, just a little half step to the right, giving him space to thud home a quality shot.
Yeah, his face is looking a real mess in there, Troy Jones, at the moment, isn't it? You say he's going to look like he's been in a fight. He'll certainly know that in the morning, John, and as I say that, another right uppercut goes in. The quality work, the accurate work is coming from Taylor here, but the heart and the courage coming from Jones.
And Jones continues to hurl himself at Taylor, absorbing shots, and he does so, gets in with a couple of body punches, and the Birmingham fans still have a little bit of heart and a little bit of belief that Troy Jones could still find something spectacular. Great right hand there from Taylor, catches Jones squared up, and my goodness, he took a peach of a shot there. He's got some chin, this boy. We'll go into that red corner now, where Troy Jones will get advice. He's got to find the 3 minutes of his career.
Coming up, guys. Hey, when you're breaking out, you keep dropping your hands in your head up. Okay, stay tight. Don't come out like this. You ain't got time to rest, you're swinging them in there. I mean, come out, go first, okay? Step inside. Stop standing in the middle. Last round now, yeah? Got this. Close, man. Put it on him now, yeah? Close. That's your best 3 minutes, Troy. Come on. Your best fucking 3 minutes. Hey, tight guard. Lock him up. When you're on his side, don't fucking work. Get your elbows inside. Smash him, yeah? Hey, tight guard. Strong catch it. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Well, a bit of fruity language there, and I'm obliged to apologise for that if you're in any way offended, but if you've been listening to us for the last, 9 rounds as we go into the 10th, we've had quite a contest, and you can kind of understand it.
Yeah, what a contest we've had here, and I tell you what, the advice was plain and simple like this. You need to go out there and cause some chaos in this 10th round, because chaos creates opportunity, and that's exactly what he needs now. He's got to throw everything and the kitchen sink here if he wants to pull out a victory, Jones, because for me, he's behind 6 rounds to 3. He needs something big.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've only given Troy Jones 3 rounds, and he's got to have a massive round here. Taylor tried to throw a very ambitious left uppercut, missed by a mile, and Jones just trying to group himself, trying to set himself in front of Taylor, and he leans on, pushes his man back. But I tell you what, not surprisingly, he is looking dog-tired now, and he takes another huge right hand from Taylor. He stays upright, but that must have shaken him down to his boots.
I tell you what, he can take a shot, this kid, Troy Jones, because that was a huge right hook, landed high on the temple, and he soaked it up. Is Taylor going to capitalise on that? Can he build on that in this 10th round?
What a tough lad Troy Jones is. Ezra Taylor, though, looks as though he's boxing his way to victory here. Tried to throw another huge left hand, and he's clearly been told by his corner, get out there, try and find a showreel knockout, and try and find a huge punch. But he's not able to put this guy away yet.
Yeah, he's giving it a go, and both guys are rolling the dice here as they stand centre of the ring, trading blow for blow. Taylor lands a short hook on the inside. Jones, though, smothering him, trying to find something from somewhere. Can he find it?
We brought you Eubank and Ben. What a fight that was. This isn't quite at that sort of level, but I tell you what, it's been a terrific fight. Right hand to the body from Taylor. He's up on his toes now, trying to produce a mobile target. Jones, his face blooded and battered, comes forward. He's into range, and he tried to throw an ambitious right hand. He missed, and now he leans onto the chest of Ezra Taylor. Referee's going to have to split them, and we're into the last 40 seconds.
Yeah, what an effort here from Jones. There, he's calling his man in. His face is blooded. Big right hand there. The legs just dipped of Jones. He felt that, and he's happy to hold on here. Taylor is just moments away. 20 seconds left in this 10th and final round. Big right hand there.
What a battle Jones has given, but what a performance from Ezra Taylor in front of his home crowd, and he's nearly putting his combinations together now. 10 seconds to go. Can he find one to put Jones down? 2 more big shots from Taylor, but Jones will not be moved. He clings on, and he sees it to the final bout. These 2 lads have sparred together. They're friends. You could have fooled me.
I tell you what, John, friends that become enemies. Enemies for that 30-odd minutes that they were in that ring. They'll be mates again afterwards. I'll tell you why, because this is a gladiatorial sport, and they've just shared a moment that only them 2 will stay with them for the rest of their lives. That was something very, very special. Trust me, both guys left it all in the ring. This 9,000, 10,000 strong crowd, they absolutely love that.
Well, if the main event's going to be better than that, and that's coming up next, Anthony Cacace against Leigh Wood live on talkSPORT. If it's going to be better than that, it's going to be some fight. That was a terrific main support bout. Ezra Taylor and Troy Jones. I've got it 97 to 93 in Taylor's favour.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. I've got that 7 rounds to 3 there in favour of Ezra Taylor. I think Troy Jones started very well, to be fair. Nicked a couple of rounds in those first 2 or 3, and then Taylor turned the screw, showed the class that he is, and towards the end there was very special. But tell you what, Troy Jones, take a bow, my son. What an effort you put in there. Showed a lot of heart, grit, determination, courage, and guess what? A loss can be the moulding of a fighter. He will come back better, stronger from that.
Ezra Taylor has that little bit of an edge in class, and there's a lot of smiles and chat between the 2 now, and the trainers up there as well, who've enjoyed that. I hope you have as well, because that was quite a fight for you here on talkSPORT. Ezra Taylor and Troy Jones, 2 undefeated light heavyweights. If you're just joining us, Taylor, the Nottingham man, was 11-0. Troy Jones, the Birmingham man, 12-0. somehow battled to stay in it all the way, and now we just wait for the judges' deliberations, and I feel certain that Ezra Taylor will surely have taken this one, that the crowd have been royally entertained.
Yep, they really have, and here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge John Latham scores it 97-94. Judge Michael Hook scores it 100-90. And Judge Luigi Boscarelli scores it 99-91. All in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. Still undefeated. And now the WBA Continental Gold Light Heavyweight Champion, Ezra the Cannon Taylor.
Ezra Taylor getting the job done over Troy Jones, 97-94, 100-90 and 99-91. Listen, a good competitive fight, a good competitive core support to what is still to come. We've got a cracker. We've got Anthony Cacace and Leigh Wood, and it's coming up next right here on talkSPORT.
Hopefully we see Tyson Fury back. Hopefully we see Billy Joe Saunders back. Frank, as always, thanks so much. Listen, back to you guys.
Atmosphere's cranking up there. You can tell with the old Neil Diamond whistling around in the background at the Motorpoint Arena as we head towards our main event. If you just tuned into us on talkSPORT, we are building towards Anthony Cacace and Leigh Wood in the main event in Nottingham. Interesting to hear that Billy Joe Saunders has been speaking to Frank Warren there. We're probably going to talk about this in the next hour or so, that he could be a viable opponent for the likes of the Chris Eubank Juniors of this world. Maybe.
Absolutely. I spoke to Billy ringside for us at the Conor Benn Chris Eubank fighter. He's big, probably 17, 18 stone big. He's going to have to work on himself a lot. He's been away several years now, but the appetite is still there. In the week, he's revealed that he's spoken to Ben Shalom in recent times, Frank Warren. Everyone wants a bit of him because he's box office. And as we were chatting about before we came into the studio tonight, Adam, just imagine Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr. going at it in a build-up. Fantastic repartee that would be, but a lot of work to do. I want to just say about Ezra Taylor, really hard fought battle by Troy Jones there. His first loss.
Yeah.
Took him 10 rounds.
He was well beaten, but he was competitive in a lot of the rounds.
He was, but Carlos Salvador Lamela took the Cannon 10 rounds last year. He's beatable, but he's got great power and he believes in himself. And I do think, I'm just looking at the light heavyweight division right now, the 175 division. Obviously, we know that Bivol, Benavidez and Beterbiev are the dominant figures in that division, but there's great fights out there for him in the future with Anthony Yard. Again, we talk about big matchups. Anthony Yard, Callum Smith, Joshua Buatsi. He's not quite ready for those guys at the moment, but he's a very powerful figure and he's incredibly well built. And he worked his way through those first rounds, and that was a good victory. I had him winning by 4 rounds there.
Let's get that atmosphere in Nottingham, shall we? Because I can see on my monitor that Leigh Wood is coming out first out of the Motorpoint Arena. So let's cross over back to our commentary team of Spencer Oliver and John Rawling.
And Leigh Wood is jigging this way at that at the end of the walk-on area in front of a big televised image of him shadow boxing, and now he comes down towards the ring, and he is, as you would expect, getting an absolute hero's welcome. Frank Warren talking about some of the fights which have gone before. I ought to tell you that Owen Cooper scored a narrow victory over Chris Congo in a welterweight contest on points, 96-94, and a unanimous decision for the Telford favourite Liam Davies up against Kurt Walker. But what an emotional walk-on this has been for Leigh Wood, greeted as he stepped through the ring ropes by his trainer Ben Davidson, and he looks so happy to be back after, what is it, 19 months?
Yep, 19 months out of the ring, and look at the crowd. They're so happy he's back as well.
World champion, Anthony, the Andy Town Apache Cacace.
Cacace. His mates call him Anto. Anthony Cacace is making his way to the ring. You've got to call him Anto, really. You can't be bellowing across the bar and saying, what a pint of Patchy.
No, it is Anto, and I was speaking to Cole Frampton about Anto and how good he really is. Cole said he used to spar so many rounds with him. It was only ever going to be a matter of time before he won world titles, you know, and delivers. And he says, by the way, you know, for a guy that's had 23 victories, 1 defeat and 8 KOs, trust me, this kid whacks harder than anyone I've ever shared the ring with. And we saw that against Joe Cordina, John, didn't we? Out in Saudi Arabia when he won the world title in their 8-round KO.
Yeah, that was kind of a coming-of-age performance, wasn't he? Bearded figure, he's big for the weight, stands around 5'10", and just underline what Frank Warren said about the two of them here. They're two of the most likeable guys that you'll find in the British and Irish boxing scene right now. And Anthony Cacace, well, his reception, understandably, is what you might call a little bit mixed. He steps up now, gets through the ropes, and this, well, I'm looking forward to this hugely.
Yeah, really are. Styles make fights, and stylistically this should be an absolute barnstormer.
Thomas Schreiber is our man giving the big introductions, and here he goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our featured bout. It is scheduled for 12 rounds, and it will be for the IBO Super Featherweight Championship of the World. Brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors, Riyadh Season, 32 Red, Unibet, That Prize Guy, and Global Next Trade. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Steward in Charge Matt Harris, along with the International Boxing Organization. President Ed Levine, Supervisor Felix Rax, Timekeeper Martin Fallon. Our 3 judges assigned will be Steve Gray of England, Olena Pomivailo of Ukraine, and Benoit Roussel of Canada. Our referee in charge will be John Latham of England. And now, boxing fans, joining us live worldwide, and boxing fans here in Nottingham, England, the time has arrived for the main event of the evening. Introducing first the challenger, fighting tonight out of the red corner. He comes to the ring wearing white, green, and black, and weighed in officially at 129.8 pounds. His professional record consists of 28 wins, 3 defeats, 17 of his 28 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former 2-time WBA featherweight champion of the world and the fighting pride of Nottingham, England, Leigh Wood. And his opponent across the ring in this main event, he is the defending world champion. Fighting tonight out of the blue corner, he comes to the ring wearing black and red and weighed in the same as his opponent, 129.8 pounds. Coming to us from Belfast, Northern Ireland, he brings a professional record of 23 wins, just 1 defeat, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former IBF world champion, and tonight, the reigning and defending IBO Super Featherweight champion of the world, Anthony, the Andy Town Apache Cacace.
much you expect from your ball pure. Main instructions at all times, man. Take your bait, your ball bait, clean. Defend yourselves at all times. Touch gloves.
Had a little word with the referee earlier on, Spencer. And John Latham was massively looking forward to this, and I said to him, I don't think you're going to have huge amount to do, because I think this is going to be an all-action fight, and they will determine their own pace and their own strategy.
Absolutely, and John, don't blink on this one. Both guys got the power to take each other out, and both guys really fancy this. They know what's on the line here. Both 36 years of age. For the loser, you just wonder where he can go. Is it career over? For the winner, back in the mix. Huge fight here in a packed-out arena. Listen to the crowd here already.
And all the support, or the vast majority of it, is for Leigh Wood. So much a hero here in Nottingham. But Cacace, good shots as he comes off the ropes. Caught Wood with a solid right hand, and an early example there of the technical ability and accuracy of Cacace, who catches him again with a left hand this time, a left uppercut. Wood tries to double up behind the left jab, but the early scoring shots are coming from the bearded Irishman.
Yeah, what a start there from Cacace. Got through with that right hand, found the range straight away, followed by the left hook that sent the head back of Leigh Wood there as well. Wood trying to push forward, hold centre of the ring, but no lateral movement here from Leigh Wood. He's got to be careful he doesn't walk into one, because Cacace has those long levers and he throws it from different angles. Very difficult to stop.
And he brought in a round arm right hand as you were speaking there. Misses with a left hand lead this time, and Wood ties him up and makes him miss a little bit embarrassingly, and Wood had a little smile on his face as he did it. A couple of jabs from Wood, short of the target. Cacace keeping his red gloves up high, tried to throw a right hand counter. Wood feints to throw a left to the body, thinks better of it, and Cacace just allowing Wood to make the first move here. You sense he wants the Nottingham man to commit himself.
Yeah, just trying to counter-punch here, Cacace, create the space, shuffle his feet back just a couple of inches so he can get off with the big shots of his own. As I say, throws them from unusual angles there. Leigh Wood pushes forward, just misses with a jab, falls short. Both guys are feeling each other out here, but Cacace maybe just getting the better of it.
Cacace was close to a 2-1 on favourite earlier today. That's probably closed as the time approached for the fight, because Wood's so popular, particularly here in Nottingham. There's a good left hand from Wood as Cacace was on the front foot trying to punish him for a couple of misses. Cacace feints to throw a left jab to the body. Wood keeps his gloves up high as Cacace almost clubs him with a right hand over the top. The two of them cling on. Cacace pushes Wood away, lands a solid left hand into the body.
Yeah, real rip puncher that was. Left hook to the body, and trust me, Leigh Wood felt that one. You see him lift his head and wince a little bit in pain. Comes back with a good right hand to the body. Himself at Cacace. Again, left hand, right hand. Screws with another left hand.
Some real quality work in that opening round for Anthony Cacace, and he's taken the first 3 minutes, started brilliantly and finished the round so well. That's a 10-9 round it's going to be for Cacace, and I think they're going to be very satisfied with the way he started.
Yeah, perfect start, wasn't it, John? He found his distance, found his timing straight away. Right hand landed, clubbing right hand to the side of the head, then followed up by a left hook, and he just built on that as the round was going on. Great finish to the round as well there. Left hand screw shot through the middle. Big right hand over the top, left hand again. Sent the head flying back there from Leigh Wood, who has to be careful. Just walking in straight lines. Needs to be a little bit more creative because Cacace's heavy-handed.
Spencer, it's worth saying, though, that he's been outboxed in the past, Leigh Wood, but he's found the equaliser. He can bang.
He certainly can, and it was in this very arena when he had to get himself off the floor a couple of times against Michael Conlin and pull himself back going into round 12. He was a mile behind on points and found something from somewhere, knocked Conlin out. This kid does not give up hope.
Well, can he do it to another Irishman tonight? He's lost the first round. This is our main event here on from the home of boxing, talkSPORT, Anthony Cacace defending his IBO World Super Featherweight title against Nottingham's Leigh Wood, and Cacace taking that opening round and starting well now in the second. Wood hasn't really had a moment of conspicuous success so far. He's winning on the old noise volume gauge, but he's not winning it on what's going on in the ring so far.
They love their boxing up here in Nottingham, and they love Leigh Wood, who's had an amazing career, a long career. And can he capture a second world title at a different weight? Well, he's got it all to do here against the champion, Anthony Cacace, who started this second round well as well.
Good footwork again from Cacace as Wood tried to tee him up for a big right hand, and he slipped a bunch comfortably, and he's on the front foot now, Cacace. Not really where he naturally wants to be. I think he'd rather be the counter-puncher and fighting off the work of Wood. He clips Wood with a right hand as Wood missed with a right hand of his own, and Cacace is on the front foot now, and he's having to try and dictate terms.
Yeah, he's just pushing forward, Cacace, but when Leigh Wood steps in, Cacace just shuffles back a little bit, trying to create that space, to create the openings for that right hand, which he clearly has been working on.
Leigh Wood, coached by Ben Davidson, and they'll have their strategy as to what they're hoping to do. Right hand from Cacace, and then follows up with a left-right combination. All the Irishmen here, no great power in those punches, but accuracy and volume, and he's such good balance as well. He's in and out, hits him with a scoring shot there, a right hand, and he's up on his toes, out of harm's way so quickly, and switching now to southpaw. He's switching effortlessly, Cacace.
Yeah, boxing well here in this second round, isn't he? 30 seconds to go now on the clock, and he's dominated this second round for me. Cacace showing a great boxing IQ in there at the moment. Good variety. As I say that, Leigh Wood slams a couple of jabs to the body, right hand to the body as well.
Yeah, that was a little bit better from Wood, but he needs an awful lot more of it. The crowd, you heard, responded the moment he got in with a punch that he's not really had any conspicuous success so far in this fight. Cacace lands a right hand, but back comes Wood with a right hand of his own, and the two of them exchange a couple of words as punches may have been thrown after the bell. Let's go into the red corner now and hear from Ben Davidson, who's talking to Leigh Wood.
Yeah, not too much waiting. Keep throwing off his time and be decisive. One up, one down. Change your height double. Just mixing them up, yeah?
Not spell there, stop because you're waiting too much. Lean hard right out the window, yeah?
Sometimes, you know, when you throw his time off, you look for the county time, he's on jab upstairs, right hand body then, yeah? He'll be late. But when you're right inside, palm round the side, a little bit of room. If you've got to use your forearm, a little bit of room, lift out the middle. Drop the pace when it's
We asked Ben, you know, Spencer, is there going to be any sort of ring rust in Leigh Wood? And he said, well, it can work both ways. He said maybe, but maybe he needed time out to recharge the batteries and come back as a fresher fighter.
Listen, it's a fair comment in his last fight, which was 19 months ago against Josh Warrington. He was behind on all the scorecards before knocking Warrington out in that 7th round, and at this stage, maybe it's a good thing.
Well, first two rounds to Cacace. First one was very clear. Second round was a little bit closer, but I think the Irishman, the champion, doing enough to take those first two periods. And the action just slowing a little bit here now in the third as Cacace's short of the mark with a right to the body, but Wood comes back with a right hand of his own and forces Cacace back as he doubles up on the left-hand lead. That's better from Wood. He's seen to be a bit more aggressive, and that's what he needs to do.
Yeah, he just needs to close the space here on Cacace, because Cacace He's trying to control the space, keep the distance right, get the timing so that he can counter-punch with those right hands and left hooks. So Leigh Wood needs to be a little bit creative himself here, close that gap and let those shots go.
Again, tries to double up on the jab, but good footwork from Cacace, and captures Wood on the way in with a right hand. Wood pushes him back, throws a tentative, pawing-looking left lead, and Cacace, so good on his feet, blocks just about everything that Wood's throwing right now, but he's wary, of course, of the power of Wood, but forward he comes with another couple of shots, including a right around the left-hand lead into the side of the head of the Nottingham man.
Yeah, good work again there from Cacace. Again, the right uppercut and the left hook. And Leigh Wood forced to hold there, and he looked happy to hold. Great effort there from Anthony Cacace.
What a quality shot that right uppercut was. Good left-hand lead, though, from Wood now, who's not been damaged by that. He was landed pretty flush, Cacace, but Wood took it well. Evidence already that he's really fit, well-conditioned, and ready for this. But a big left hand from Cacace. Again, Wood takes it well. It rocked his head back.
Yeah, massive shot there, and just a little dip in the knees there from Wood. But Wood soon regrouped, got himself back together, full short there with a double jab. Right hand, Leigh Wood, the crowd trying to get behind him, trying to urge him on here, but he's just starting to mark up a little bit as well there, I think, John, under that right eye.
Cacace blocks an attempted over-the-top right from Wood, and then ducks low and makes Wood miss and holds on and bullies Wood inside. And the referee has a little word with Cacace and say, come on, let's keep it clean. He's moving to the last 15 seconds of this third round. Good work from Cacace again. Couple of jabs. Left hook from Wood was only a glancing blow. Cacace finishing the round as the aggressor. Wood makes him miss. The two touched gloves in a moment of respect, showing how much they do appreciate the talents of each other. We'll go to the Cacace corner and see how they're reading it. We've got Cacace at the moment well in front.
Let them rip on the back, they can no defense. Keep your stay, keep your stance, everything's crazy. Keep the hands in. I'm okay? Keep your hands up nice and tight. And then, land. That's a big round for us getting to. We drink for 3 seconds. Give me a drink. Okay, we got our mix. Yep. Good. Nice breathing. Okay, with it. Work on your job, work on your job, work on your job. Back leg nice and tidy out. And then rip. Hit the floor.
A little bit of language in the corner there, and sorry for that one. Anthony Cacace getting advice from a very experienced team there, and they must be very pleased with the way it's going so far, Spencer.
Yeah, 3 rounds gone, 3 rounds in the bank for me, for Anthony Cacace, who's just seemed to have controlled the space up till now, landed some good right hands, and Woods walking forward, and not a lot of thought process behind his work at the moment. He's just trying to figure things out, but as we know, John, Leigh Wood is one of those fighters that can come from behind.
Well, he does tend to come in straight lines, and he's doing that tonight, and that's nothing new. That's kind of a fault of his, but he does have the big concussive punches. Cacace, though, has a great chin himself. He's only lost once in 24 fights, and he can take a punch, and he's been technically the superior man in the first 3 rounds. Wood tries to whip in a right hand, just short of the target, then jabs to the body of Cacace, who holds on and ties Wood up and pushes Cacace back. Looked like a bit of elbow there, but he gets away with it, then lands a good right hand as he comes out of the clinch, and another one, and Wood was punished there inside, and he can't afford to be out-thought and outworked up close.
Yeah, he can't be out-hustled and out-manned on the inside there. Cacace is very strong physically, and he's landing good work here on the inside as well. Leigh Wood just fainting, trying to find an opening, trying to find something, and he needs to find something here. He needs to stamp his authority on this one, because at the moment, he's losing these rounds.
The crowd need to raise Leigh Wood. Anthony Cacace said home advantage wouldn't worry him. He said he's used to going into big atmospheres and not being the favoured man, but that's better from Wood. Ran the right hand onto the bearded face of Cacace, who's up on his toes, takes a right to the body. Wood's doing better here, and Cacace just said something to him here in this fourth round, that's been the best little spell maybe that Wood's had in the whole fight so far.
Yep, totally agree. 45 seconds left in this fourth round, and for the first time Leigh Wood's starting to get some success. He's found the range with that jab. You talked about it, John. Ring rust playing a part. Has he now shook that ring rust off? Has he found his distance? Has he found his timing? We're going to find out, because you just feel there's more twists and turns to come here in this contest. Good start from Cacace, but Wood now getting back into it.
Yeah, he's getting into a bit of a rhythm. Cacace leaps in behind the left-hand lead, and the right eye of Wood is starting to bruise up. There's a little bit of a mouse underneath that right eye. Lands a good right hand though, Wood, and a right uppercut inside. Cacace takes it well, but this by a distance has been the best round of the fight so far for the challenger Leigh Wood. Well done.
Yeah, good round there from Leigh Wood. The first round for me to Leigh Wood. He started finding success. It all come off the jab. He landed a good right uppercut towards the end of the round and some good right hands. For the first time, Anthony Cacace, he looked a little unravelled. He looked a little bit disorganised. And as I said, more to come here. Two experienced guys with everything on the line. Round number 5 is going to be a good one.
You're listening along with us, wherever you may be. I remind you can also watch along with us ringside here in Nottingham. Head over to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel right now. We've been getting huge audiences on that channel, so be a part of it. Get involved. This is Anthony Cacace against Leigh Wood live on talkSPORT.
Here we go, round number 5. Leigh Wood had a better round in that fourth round, and he needed that, to be fair. Cacace was just starting to build up a little lead, and let's see now if he can continue with that success in this round, John.
Well, he needs to. He's 3-1 down on my card, and Wood needs to build on that success in the third round. We're here in the 5th round of 12. The IBO World Super Featherweight title, Anthony Cacace, the big favourite, defending his title here in the home of Leigh Wood. He doesn't actually live in this arena, but it kind of feels like he does.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, he's had some of his best nights in this arena as well, hasn't he? In that one that I mentioned a couple of years ago against Mick Conlon, will go down in history as one of the great British fights. Can we get another one here? There's been big talk of this. Frank Warren said he's been looking forward to this one, a real 50-50, and at the moment Cacace has got his nose in front, but never write Leigh Wood off.
Leigh Wood is on the front foot now. He's gained in a little bit of confidence from his success in that last round. Cacace looks for a combination, taken on the gloves by Wood. And Wood, well, we've got him, what, a couple of points behind, but it's early stages yet. A long, long way to go. 12-round championship distance. And Cacace feints to throw a left-hand lead out of the orthodox stance now. And he changes so easily from right hand to left hand, then throws a little combination which Wood has to absorb, feints to throw a left jab. He's not thrown any power shots yet in this round. Aimed a big right hand there, but missed by a distance, and is punished by a couple of jabs from Cacace.
Yeah, Cacace doing the right thing at the moment, switching orthodox southpaw, trying to create that space. Unpredictability wins in this game, and he's being unpredictable so far, and it's working for him.
Guarantee there'll be a big audience in Northern Ireland listening to the progress of Anthony Cacace, and hope you're enjoying the action here from Nottingham, and your man's doing well so far.
Yeah, good work again there, straight right hand to the body, just missed that one from Leigh Wood, but he's doing well, taking centre of the ring. 1 jab, 2 jab, 3 jabs, trying to create the opening, falls short with the right hand. Cacace doing a good job still of controlling that space.
Sometimes it's so important that the perception of who's dominating the fight is actually established, and that's what Cacace's trying to do, and also, of course, what Leigh Wood's going to try to do. Not a lot of big punches landed in this round, so who's looked as though they've dominated it? Who's been the aggressor for the most part? Nice little right uppercut inside from Leigh Wood, and there goes the bell to end the round, a close round, and into the corner where Ben Davidson is with Leigh Wood.
You've got to be more decisive. Stop waiting for him to lead off there, yeah? As long as you're throwing off his timing, little something throw his timing off, and get off again. Because you're waiting in those situations, he's pushing back to the centre of the ring. Yeah? So you're missing getting out in those moments where you can put them together.
Just see a switch on the clip, so he's not going to fade out of it, yeah?
Do you know what I'm saying? When you get him around the rope, and do double jab and change height, nice and decisive, little up down, then start getting to work downstairs. If he steps off there and then cut the ring off, straight back to it. Unless he's southpaw, don't wait for it. If he's southpaw, wait for that backhand, yeah? We'll counter that.
Good advice from Ben Davidson, and just a hint again that Leigh Wood is getting himself back into that fight. Could have been level that last one, could even have taken it.
Yeah, I think he did take it, you know, and he senses that as well. There's a new lease of life in his work here, Leigh Wood, and like I say, listen, this kid is used to coming from behind. He's done it on a number of occasions. There's something in the water up here in Nottingham. Cole Fox was one of those guys as well. We saw it with Errol Graham back in the day, Carlton and Lang, all them guys, they never lose heart. They continue and fight till the end. And Leigh Wood has made a career out of that, and he's doing it tonight.
Yeah, great fighters, every one of them that Spencer was mentioning there. And here comes Cacace as Wood just for a moment stands centre ring and allows his head to be rocked back by a solid left-hand lead from Cacace. Not fighting out of southpaw now, then back comes Wood with a right hand, just a glancing blow, and maybe Cacace has had the greater accuracy in this fight so far, although the greater work rate may be coming from Leigh Wood.
Yeah, lovely jab, right uppercut there from Leigh Wood as well. That just went through the guard, and he started to find his range and timing, as I said now. Let's see how this contest continues as we're approaching the halfway mark. Round number 6, 1 minute 40 seconds left in this round, and it's anyone's round, John.
It certainly is. Halfway stage of the 6th round of a 12-round contest on talkSPORT. Anthony Cacace against Leigh Wood. It's not quite been the barn burner that some expected yet, but it could yet still become so as fatigue sets in and openings come, and Cacace lands a couple of headshots. Wood tries to throw a left hook counter, was short of the target, and Cacace, gloves held high now, aims to throw a left towards the body. Wood now feints to throw his own right hand. Once more, was short of the target with that.
Yeah, growing in confidence here, Leigh Wood. And he gets caught with a big left hook there. He got hurt with that one. Cacace sensed that.
And he waved him in as much as to say, you fancy it, come and have a go. Couple of more uppercuts from Cacace. And that was one of the best punches of the fight so far. And unquestionably, Wood felt the weight of the Irishman's work. Wood's onto the front foot again, predictably, in the straight line, left hand, right hand, into the face of Cacace, lands a right to the body. Cacace complaining that there were heads used in there, and the two of them sportingly touch gloves.
Yeah, heads definitely went in there. Leigh Wood coming low there, but he got caught again. That right hand and left hook jab again from Cacace. Good little spell here. Right hand again from Cacace. The crowd trying to get behind Wood, but this is a Cacace round.
Most definitely. Good work from Anthony Cacace, and he smiles in a taunting manner at Leigh Wood as he goes back to the corner. Let's go back to the studio for a moment with Adam and Gareth.
Wood was getting a little bit of a foothold in that fight, but as you just said there, boys, Cacace turned it back on its head and turned it back into his favour. So through 6, I've got it 4-2 in favour of Anthony Cacace, who's just a little bit more accurate through those opening rounds. Wood needs to get back on his jab, because I thought in rounds 4 and 5 the jab was good and he was getting some foothold.
Yeah, what Cacace did, he boxed when Wood was fighting, and then he fought when Wood was boxing early on, and I thought he dominated those first 4 rounds. Brilliant tactics. Wood came into it in the fourth
Back
and
end
fifth
of
a little
fourth.
bit more.
Yeah, back end of
He
fourth,
got
Kevin.
badly hurt in that 6th round. I've always thought Cacace might take him down the stretch, but Leigh Wood has great conditioning. He needs to gamble a little bit here, in my view, and really go for it and get in a dogfight with Cacace.
Or get back on the
Otherwise,
jab.
he's going to get completely beaten up.
Well, we're going to find out.
We go into the 7th round now. We will find out. And I just always thought Cacace might just have a little bit too much for Leigh Wood, but Wood has the equaliser. He's going to have to find it. A couple of jabs from the Nottingham man. Misses with another one. And Cacace lets him come. Just feints to throw a right hand. Thinks better of it. Wood left jab towards the Cacace body. Cagey sort of start from the Irishman in the first 30 seconds of the 7th round.
Yeah, I suppose the million-dollar question here is how many times can you go to the world? Because Leigh Wood has gone there time and time again. And can he do it? Because he's going to have to do it tonight again against Anthony Cacace if he's going to get this victory. Cacace left hook, then tries to turn it into an uppercut.
That is, of course, assuming that the judges see it the same way as we do. You never know. Sometimes you have a little bit of, what shall we say, perverse? No, that's not really quite the right word, is it? But you get some odd scores on occasion.
Sometimes you agree to disagree. That's probably a better way of putting it.
That's a nicer way of saying it. He's onto the front foot again now, is Wood, as he comes forward. No big punches thrown yet in this round. Tempted straight right from Wood, was short of the target. Cacace onto the back foot. He's allowing Wood to come.
He's drawing him in here, John. That's what he's trying to do. Draw him in for one of those straight rights, left hooks over the top.
Is he going to be able to find it? Good jab from Cacace. Wood short of the mark with a right aim towards the body, and he's not going in any way in a sort of a gung-ho manner, Leigh Wood. He's trying to measure his work as well, and he gets in with a right to the body as he slips underneath a left hook from Cacace. That's good work from Wood, and again another solid right hand. Cacace trying to pick him off from range. A couple of jabs, both left jabs. Wood manages to parry them and block them. Not a lot from Cacace by way of scoring punches in this 7th round so far.
Yeah, both guys trying to, set a new game plan here. That's what I like about these fighters. High boxing IQ, switching the tactics. If something's not working, go to plan B. Let's have a plan C. Both these guys are doing that. They're making little adjustments through the contest, and they're having to reset and restart. Great action here up in Nottingham.
Tight round this one, not a lot between them. Good jab from Wood, rocks back the head of Cacace, who switches to the southpaw stance, throws out a right jab and another one. Wood takes them though, and no great power in those punches. Wood just trying to measure himself for a right hand, and that was a quiet round. Difficult one to work, difficult one to score.
Yeah, it was a difficult round to score that. Leigh Wood may have just nicked that. He was the one that was maybe a little bit more active, landing a couple of shots. There was less work coming from Cacace there. He had to reset and adjust, as I said, in the round there, and he didn't really get off of the shots. He was waiting just a little too long, looking for that right-hand counter through the middle where he's been getting success, and those left hooks over the top.
This is our main event for you here on talkSPORT. It's the IBO World Super Featherweight title fight. Anthony Cacace defending his title against Nottingham's Leigh Wood, a former world champion, fighting at Super Feather for the first time. He's maybe just behind at this stage, but an argument that he won that last round, and so the gap may be closing. We go into the 8th round. Good fight here. A bit more technical than a few of us expected. It's not quite been the real toe-to-toe scrap that we anticipated. He complains about the use of the head there, Anthony Cacace. Don't think it was deliberate from Leigh Wood, but his curly-headed head did go into into the close cropped head of Leigh Wood. I know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah, it's great hairstylist there, John. But yeah, he's having some good work here. Leigh Wood again. You just sensed big right hand there from Leigh Wood. That sent the sweat spraying from Anthony Cacace's head there.
And there's a mark underneath the right eye, a graze, which was caused by that head clash. And his nose, Leigh Wood, is also now leaking blood. Cacace senses that there's damage there, and he's going looking for the Nottingham man. Could still be the most exciting phases of the fight still to come.
Absolutely. Listen, I think this is the time when the corner have had a word with Leigh Wood and said, come on, son, time to roll the dice. Go out on your shield, make it or break it here, and you've got to give it absolutely everything. And that's what he seems to be doing here, Leigh Wood, trying to push it as they tie up inside. Cacace again speaking to Leigh Wood, who walks back to the corner complaining.
And the referee has a word with Leigh Wood, leads him away to a corner. He's complaining about this and that, and I think the referee was more concerned about some illegal holding from Leigh Wood and maybe an attempt to drag Cacace onto his punches.
Yeah, he's just trying to rough him up a little bit here. It's the hurt business, the fight game. You try and get away with these little things. He's got experience, Wood, and he'll know that it's very, very tight on the scorecards, and he's possibly got to come from behind yet again in his career. But guess what? Don't write this kid off.
Cacace lands a solid right hand, and then back comes Wood. Cacace makes it only a glancing blow with the right hand, and Cacace, as Wood comes forward gambling, is trying to punish him. Less than a minute to go in the 8th round. The two hold on and clinch, and referee John Latham has to split them. Cacace misses with a solid right hand, but then leads with a right hand on the left. Right, left from Cacace, and Wood has to take them both.
Oh, it's getting tough in there now. Both guys are starting to bite down on their gum shields. You can see the fatigue is just starting to come in, and it's starting to become a little bit of a mental battle. It's been physical, rough, good left hook inside there from Cacace.
Yeah, good work indeed. And that's a little bit of knowledge, fighting experience. Another couple of jabs from Cacace as he skips away out of a corner and then ties Wood up. Last few seconds of the round, and we're going to be going into the Cacace corner and hearing from his veteran trainer, Barry O'Neill. This one is really in the mixer, and Cacace nods at Wood as he picks him off with another couple of right hands. Wood waves to the crowd, but it may have been a Cacace round, and we go into the Irishman's corner.
It's a winner, and you're setting it up. You keep your hands in tight and let it go down the back, right down the middle. You're getting us. Jab. Let's go. Do the drink. What do you say? Up. Drink. Thank you. Ready? Okay. Here we go, son. Here we go.
Here we go now. Into the 9th round. It's a 12th round of the IBO World Super Featherweight title for you here on talkSPORT, and another terrific contest we're bringing you live this time from Nottingham.
Yeah, this is a 4-round fight for me now. This fight can be won and lost in these last 4 rounds. I've got Cacace slightly ahead. It could be 5-3. Oh, big left hook there from Cacace. How's Wood stayed up on his feet?
Wood straight into it, but he's trying to ride this torrent of passionate support. Oh, he almost goes down. He falls into the ropes, Leigh Wood, and the referee pushes Anthony Cacace away, and he's giving Wood a standing 8 count. Wood doesn't like it. The crowd is jeering, but Cacace caught him with a couple of tremendous left hands.
Yeah, big left hands, and he's landed another one again. Leigh Wood looking to hold. Is in desperate trouble. The legs have turned to stilts here.
And Cacace is looking to end this fight here in this 9th round. He was already ahead on the points, and he lifts the head up with uppercuts, with hooks, and Wood can do seconds. Can he find one of his massive trademark punches? Good right hand from Cacace.
Yeah.
As Wood holds on.
Big left hook there from Cacace as well, and the legs again gone from Wood, who's desperately trying to hold on here. Where's he finding this from? He's only seconds, moments away from being knocked out here.
Cacace senses that his man is there for the taking. Wood is looking groggy. He comes forward, pours out a left-hand lead, then does find the target with another one. Cacace's up on his toes, now plants his feet, getting inside, trying to work inside, and that period of dominance in this round was all started off with some great inside work from Anthony Cacace, the champion. He almost has Wood down again as Wood stumbles away. It's caught by a body shot and a couple of uppercuts. He almost looked as though he was going to fall down there, and Wood is almost out of it, and the corner have thrown in the towel. Leigh Wood has been saved from further punishment by Ben Davison, and Anthony Cacace is exuberant. He's down on his knees, kissing the canvas. There are hugs and celebrations in there, and my goodness, when he got his man going in that last round and a half, there was no let-up. Cacace is still the champion, brave from Leigh Wood, but on the night he's lost to the better man, and he was taking an absolute pounding in that 9th round when the towel came in.
Yeah, Ben Davison doing a great job there, jumping up on the ringside, throwing that towel in. What a contest, what an effort by a great former champion in Leigh Wood. It was his homecoming, it was going to be his big night, two-time, two-weight world champion. It wasn't to be, but he lost to a great fighter in Anthony Cacace. That 9th round, John, was brutal.
It certainly was, and Cacace just leaning over the ropes and celebrating with the Irish fans who've made their way across from Belfast and elsewhere on the Emerald Isle. Cacace still the champion, and when he got his opportunity, Adam, he took it magnificently.
He was fantastic, John. Absolutely fantastic. He probably, listen, on my card, he's probably dropped 2 rounds in that whole performance. I thought his boxing was fantastic, his footwork, his accuracy, everything about it was absolutely fantastic. And when he got Leigh Wood on the end of the hook, he did not let him off. That round to finish the fight was sensational. He mixed it up, he had him hurt to the head, and then he mixed it to the body, and he took him out of there. Great corner work, got to take my hat off. You know, sometimes we see brave corners, don't we, that go a little bit too long. I thought Ben Davison got it right. That must be hard, pulling out your man who's in his hometown favourite. He's made the right decision getting the towel in there, because we didn't need to see any more. Cacace was teeing off at will.
Not a difficult decision to throw the towel in. Obviously, John Latham was thinking about stopping it. When he got battered around the ring for that last minute, I was saying to you, Adam, in the studio, I think Ben Davison will pull him out at the end of this round, because I had him winning 1 round. He gave his all. Cacace is a very, very dangerous man. And if Emmanuel Navarrete defends his title against Charlie Suarez tonight in San Diego, I'd love to see Cacace go for gold in a unification in the division. I think he's on fire. Brilliant performance where he really did pick Leigh Wood apart. Yes, there was ring rust. As I say, he boxed when his opponent was fighting, and he fought when his opponent was boxing. An utterly dominant performance against a very hard man.
Absolutely, and he is such a polite and likeable fella away from the ring. Big family man, Anthony Cacace, but when he gets through those ropes and really starts to fight, my goodness, he's an Irish fury in there.
Yeah, he really is. Tough guy to beat, you know. Doesn't lose spirit when things are not going right in the contest, sticks to the game plan, and he delivers. Works so well on the inside. His judgment of distance is incredible, and the right hands as well, as we see him leaning through the ropes there with his girlfriend.
And Leigh Wood's getting a great ovation from the crowd, because I think they know that this could well turn out to be his last fight. I'm not sure there's going to be any way back from this. He's earned handsomely from his performance tonight, but he's been well beaten, and maybe at super featherweight, which is where he is now, he just doesn't have the power to be a genuine threat at world level. And Anthony Cacace, who continues to beat his chest and hold his fist aloft, he was absolutely in control from word go in that fight. Wood had a couple of rounds when he got back into it, but Anthony Cacace tonight was outstanding, and I'd agree with what Gareth was saying. Let's see him in a big unification.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official time. 2 minutes 15 seconds of round number 9. The red corner retires their fighter, and our referee in charge, John Latham, accepts their retirement. Therefore, your winner by way of technical knockout and still IBO Super Featherweight Champion of the World, Anthony the Andy Town Apache Cacace.
Superb. Anthony Cacace from start to finish in the fight tonight, getting the job done against Leigh Wood. Away from home as well. You've got to take your hat off to him. I know he took a few fans over from Northern Ireland, but from start to finish, Anthony Cacace was sensational. Absolutely, and as I say, I think, you know, you look down the guys from the UK, Ryan Garner's not a big enough name to fight him at the moment, in my view, even though he's highly ranked.
Doing well. He's doing well.
No, he's doing well, but he's coming through. But he is not at the level of a Cacace. This guy was like a surgeon in there tonight against a very dangerous puncher. I couldn't give Leigh more than one round in those centre rounds. You could have given him 5 and 6 maybe. He was coming on strong. He gave it his all. But the power that Cacace shows, the ability to beat people like Joe Cordina, to dismantle Josh Warrington, yes, who's got a lot of miles on the clock as well. It's a terrific... He's having a terrific period in his career at 36, and he looks like he's got loads left at him.
Absolutely. He's currently doing an interview in the ring at the moment with our own Adi Oladipo. If we can get back into Nottingham, just to get a little bit of a feedback from Spencer Oliver, because Adi was kind of just alluding to it there at the start of the interview. 18 months. The last 18 months for Anthony Cacace has been truly sensational. He's been one of those fighters that has been bubbling along. Is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? Maybe a few injuries have cropped up in his career that have maybe derailed certain things. But the last 18 months, Spence, he has been truly sensational in the super featherweight division.
Guys, you go back to 2017 when he lost to Martin J. Ward. In a good contest, to be fair. Martin J. Ward was a good fighter, but you wonder where his career was going to go, what sort of level would he reach, would he get to, would he, become, European champion, maybe at best, something like that. Fast forward 7 fights, and look where he is. He goes out to Saudi Arabia, a big underdog against Joe Cordina, knocks Cordina out in 8 rounds, hasn't looked back, a good victory over Josh Warrington, and then a sensational victory there against a very fired up Leigh Wood, who knew, John, it was his last chance to lose.
Yeah, he was absolutely outstanding tonight, Cacace. I remember commentating on one of his fights several years ago, and it was in Ireland, and Carl Frampton, he was absolutely emphatic that this guy, we haven't seen him yet. He was a world-class fighter, and he was going to deliver sooner or later, and my goodness, he has in spades.
Yeah, he certainly has, and at 36 years of age, the guy seems to be getting better and stronger, and that was a first-class performance. He come into the Lion's Den here tonight. You guys have both been up here in this Motorpoint arena, with the fighters that we've seen over the years, the memorable nights with the likes of Cole Fox. You know what the fans are like. Coming into a hostile crowd like that is not easy, and Anto Cacace delivered tonight. He's done that, and he's brought a legion of fans with him as well. What a performance. I salute both guys. What a career if he decides to end it there, Leigh Wood. But what a performance, and what next for Anthony Cacace?
Well, that's the key question, Spence. What is it going to be next? I know that obviously Gareth alluded to their other world champions, but at the start of the show we said that the profile with the other world champions isn't necessarily great, so therefore maybe the finances might not necessarily be connected to the fight. Don't get me wrong, there's some great fights that we can all get excited about. Are we talking the likes
of Michael Conlon, for example. Is that what we're talking about? So those types of fights for him next, Anthony Cacace.
Listen, that's the sort of fight that would sell massively, as you guys know. Michael Conlon, a huge name, you know, out in Ireland as well. And what a fight that would be. Them two guys fighting on home turf there. They would both get well paid for it. And that's what it's about right now.
I think that's a big ask, Spence, for Michael Conlon to go straight into that fight with Cacace at Super Feather. Very tough fight for him.
Absolutely it is, but again, Michael Conlon's looking for that opportunity, Gareth. He's coming back, he's come back into it. Yes, he's picked up a victory. He's shown interest and said there is a possibility that happening. Let's not forget here, these guys, you know, they're not toddlers anymore. They're in the twilight of their careers, these two, and it's about manoeuvring and getting the right opportunities, like Leigh Wood done there, moving up, first fight at Super Featherweight. He took the gamble, took the opportunity, it didn't pay off, and Conlon could do the same.
Yeah, we had him on the show, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, where he leveraged that ambition. It's a great fight. It's a great fight in Belfast, certainly, and it sells out in Belfast. If they want to do it, they go ahead and do it. But I would make Cacace a massive favourite in that fight, based on previous performances in the last year and a half.
In the ring, Gareth. We heard Cacace saying to Frank Warren, "Show me the money, show me the money," and he jokingly suggested to Carl Frampton, "Come on, come back and have a fight with me." Well, that's not going to happen, but he wants the big ones, you know, he wants the money spinners.
I know that obviously Adi Oladipo's just speaking to Leigh Wood, isn't he? What shall we listen into that? Let's see what Leigh Wood's got to say off the back of this.
Yeah, because of that time out the ring. I don't want to make any excuses, you know. I promised them I wouldn't. It was hard tonight, harder than usual. Maybe they lay off, but I don't know. But it's a great fight. No, I don't feel like if I want to lose to anyone, I want to lose to someone like a gentleman like Anthony Cacace, and hopefully he goes on a good run.
One thing the boys said in comms, as soon as they saw Cacace in the ring, he looked physically a lot bigger than you. Did you feel that extra size in the ring?
No, but I feel like at featherweight, I feel like I'm a lot stronger, a lot bigger. There's a big gap. Whereas tonight, I feel like it was an even playing field.
You hurt him with some big shots, right? Normally at featherweight, those guys tumble down when you land those shots as well. Were you surprised he was able to take your big ones, Leigh?
Yeah, a little bit. I knew that when you go to a new weight, then I'm not going to be as bullish. But like I said, no shame in losing to someone like him, because he's a great guy, and hopefully, you know, he goes on a good run. No excuses for me tonight.
I hate to ask that question, Leigh. You know the question I'm going to ask next. You're 36. You've entertained us in this arena so many times. You put on some big ones. Is there more nights at the Motorpoint?
I don't know. I'm not going to make a decision on the spot. We'll see. We'll have a think. We'll have a talk. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out to me tonight. Massive thank you. Thanks for bringing the noise. And I'm sorry to disappoint.
Leigh, you never disappoint me. You put it all on the line all the time, and you did it again tonight. Congratulations on what I thought was a really gutsy performance, Leigh.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Adi Oladipo there, just for the TV broadcast of DAZN, catching up with Leigh Wood in the immediate aftermath of his defeat to Anthony Cacace. Cacace was absolutely, truly sensational. Listen, you can hear it in his voice, loads of disappointment. Leigh Wood has, for me, exceeded expectation for the majority of fight fans. When you analyse his last 5 to 6 years, where he was at to where he ended up getting, he's done tremendously well. I thought that maybe British and European level might be the cap, and if he got to that, then I think he would have exceeded expectation for him to go on and become a world champion, to deliver the nights that he's delivered, to have had the victories that he's had in that period of time. He can look back at, if it is time, he can look back at whatever he's achieved with an immense amount of pride. I think he's done fantastically well with the trajectory and road that he was put on at the start of his career.
This is an expression we use, Adam, which is an overachiever, and it's not meant as a criticism or a negative narrative on fighters, but the narrative arc of his career mirrors people like Chris Billum-Smith and Anthony Crolla, guys who had a period where they didn't look like they were going to go to world level, and then they have a second wind in their career, and they go there and they delight us and they thrill us. And like you say, he has achieved so much. I know Spencer's running around. He's probably going to try and get an interview with Cacace or Leigh Wood right now, but I think he can be proud of what he's achieved. I don't see the fight that's there for him to go out in front of the Nottingham crowd again and deliver. He gave everything tonight, came up against a very, very good champion, and he was roundly beaten by a very precise fighter. And I don't think there is a way forward. He obviously won't want to give up, but I don't see the opponent.
And that's the difficult thing. If there was an obvious path, then we could obviously make that claim for it right now, because you don't want to retire a fighter. But
Ryan Garner, you could put him in with, but is Ryan too young, too strong?
Yeah, that feels like a changing of the guard, gatekeeper type of scenario. You want a legends fight. You want someone who's in the same situation that he's in, and maybe
Josh Warrington steps up then, does he? And they fight again.
Well, maybe because maybe that is the conversation, because you've got Nottingham Forest, Leeds United. You've got a fight there that they've had previously. Obviously, Leigh came through, but if you actually analyse that fight, Josh was winning it for a large period of that fight, so maybe there is an argument for it. Listen, I think it's a little bit too early to start talking about things like that. Let the dust settle, let him analyse the performance tonight, and I'm sure him and his team and his family will come to some type of conclusion. One thing that we can absolutely conclude is that Anthony Cacace is getting better. There's no doubt about that, and he's going in a direction now where there's some seriously mouth-watering fights on the prospect for him at super featherweight. It's just on what decision he makes. Does he take the high risk, low rewarders for maybe big marbles in the division, or does he go for the bigger names, the higher profile names, and the absolute blockbusters that might do big arenas back in Belfast?
But you said it earlier on the show that it's a division that lacks star power at the moment.
Absolutely.
And he could be the star in the division, and he probably is right now. Navarrete on the other side of the pond is seen as a big name. He is a star. We've got the likes of Raymond Ford, who's in the division. Eddie Hearn's brought him into play against Nick Ball. Is there a Nick Ball fight there at super featherweight, for example? That's an exciting prospect as well, because I know we'll talk about Naoya Inoue in a minute, the great Japanese, the monster as he's known, who's a super bantamweight champion, and people are talking about him stepping up to featherweight, but for me, he stays there. I think Nick Ball is a potential massive seller. Frank Warren promotes Nick Ball. You could sell out in Liverpool. That's a possibility. You like that, don't you?
Listen, I like a lot of fights, but I also think there's opportunities for Nick Ball still at featherweight. I think there's opportunities still. We know that what the roadmap's going to be for Naoya Inoue at super bantamweight over the next, definitely the next one anyway. He's fighting MJ, isn't he, in Akhmadaliev in September time. Before he even contemplates deciding to come up to featherweight, which would be Nick Ball's current weight, and then you've got another one on top of it. Whilst we're thinking of that and hopefully coming up with conclusions, let's speak to a man that might have those conclusions for us, because Spencer Oliver is speaking to Anthony Cacace. Let's get over to Nottingham.
Yeah, I am. I'm here with the champ, Anthony Cacace. And so, mate, what a performance there. You come into the Lions Den and you delivered.
Yeah, mate, listen, I'm always going to the Lions Den. Like, when am I fighting in Belfast? I mean, I'm fighting, this is my third 2-10 world champion in a row. I mean, I've got nothing more to prove. I mean, I've beaten the best. I've beaten the best in featherweight. I've beaten the best in super featherweight in Britain. I am the #1, no doubt about it. So, show me the money. Let's not mess about anymore.
Listen, we've been talking about that, and I talked about it with Frank Warren as well. I say, listen, it's all about for you now. You're manoeuvring, getting the big fights out there, the money fights that are out there. Leigh Wood was that guy, hence why you give up the IBF and come here into the Lions Den and picked up that to get that, that extra payday.
Leigh Wood was double the money, and I've said it, and these journalists keep asking me, why Duck Sugar Nunes? See that the word duck? It's not in my vocabulary.
Listen, you're a fighter, mate, and I know that's not that fighters don't do that. It's about opportunity and the business side of things, and I get that. Look, there's other fighters out there. A big fight with you and Michael Conlon back in Ireland, that would be huge. Surely he's shown interest, saying he may move up in there. Are they the sort of fights you'd like?
Michael Conlon's a gentleman. No disrespect to him, I would fight him, no problem. But I'm looking WBC, WBA. Michael's just a wee bit off that at the minute, so if he can get himself into that position, I'm all for it. Or if I'm getting paid a lot of money, we'll do that next week.
Listen, did I see you having a little word there with Cole Frampton as well? Was you trying to lure him out of retirement there, or what?
Me and Carl are friends. We've been friends from in the Irish team, 11, 12, 13. I've been knowing him from he was a child. It's all love for me in Frampton. It's all love for me and anyone from Belfast. I don't want to fight anyone from Belfast, really. So I just want to have the big opportunities, more belts. and the big money. It's more about money. I've got 3 children. I tend to buy a couple of houses, you know.
Absolutely. Listen, Anto, you've earned it, mate. It was your night tonight. What a performance in the Lions Den. You delivered again, and we want all the best for you, mate. Looking forward to the next 12 months or so. See where you take it. But anyway, now back to you guys.
Mate, top stuff. Thank you very much, Spencer. Thank you very much, John. Anthony Cacace getting the job done this evening. Listen, stick with us. We've got plenty to get through here on talkSPORT. We're going to talk Manny Pacquiao. We're going to talk about maybe the possibility of some 5v5s, and we'll spitball some other stuff as well from the world of boxing. Don't be going anywhere. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. It's Fight Night Live on talkSPORT. Now then, talkSPORT's Rory Jennings caught up with Chris Eubank Jr. on the possibility of an extraordinary rematch with Conor Benn. Here's what he had to say in Monte Carlo.
If it's up to the public, it's happening, isn't it?
Well, I guess what we do as private fighters is we fight for the people. If the people want to see something, we provide. That's the job of a fighter. From what I'm hearing, people want to see a rematch. If that is the case, then I will do everything in my power to oblige.
The Conor Benn fight that we've discussed is something that I think is on everyone's lips, particularly if you adopt a more casual approach to boxing. I think the devout would often have a conversation about Canelo. And I think if the Canelo-Crawford fight goes Canelo's way, some would suggest that he is the best of all time. I think it's been mooted that maybe that could be your next opponent at 168. Would that be something that you'd be open to if the Conor Benn fight doesn't necessarily happen, or post a fight with Conor Benn?
That is a fight that I have been interested in from years. I think it would be an amazing fight in terms of stylistic matchup. And it's a fight that can be made now. It's a fight that the fans are asking to see. Canelo's expressed interest in fighting in the UK. So I think within the next 12 months, there is a strong chance that fight can be made.
If you're watching on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, you will have seen Rory Jennings there with Chris Eubank Jr. out in Monte Carlo. I believe they were playing poker together and what have you, and they just caught up for a little bit of a chinwag. So thank you very much, Rory, for catching up with the man that won the fight at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Conor Benn. Epic night, epic fight. And he came through on sheer will, guts and determination in the back end of the fight to get the job done. And this kind of leads us on to the conversation of what comes next. What do you want to see happen next for Chris Eubank Jr.? Because we know that they have signed a 2-fight deal, and we do know that there is a conversation about them doing it again.
Well, he should have won anyway, because he was naturally the bigger man, and those in boxing picked him, and he won convincingly in a terrific fight that was very close at times. Conor Benn is the guy whose stock rose more than Chris Eubank, in my view. Even though Eubank was brilliant on the night, as he was with his father. The story I enjoyed this week, apart from Rory's fantastic interview with him, was with Stephen Bartlett on the podcast of a CEO, in which Chris Eubank Jr. over nearly 2 hours, or an hour and 3800 minutes, explained how he'd heard from his father in a weird way the night before the fight. Recall this? Do you recall this? Emily Eubank married or partner with Frank Smith, and that's a fascinating... There's so many great dynamics, but we've had the quartet now, the two great old fathers, the legends, and the two sons fight. I don't know what more there is to prove, and I think you make the point. Conor Benn is a 147 fighter, or maybe a 154 fighter, but at welterweight, he can do very well indeed. Yep. There are loads of great fights for him. And Chris Eubank would love to fight Canelo. And if Canelo wants to fight a 9th British fighter and beat a 9th British fighter, come and do it in Wembley.
You will never recreate what they had at Tottenham Hotspur.
No.
Everything about it, from the WWE moment of Chris Eubank Senior coming out the car and all that, everything just fell into place.
And serendipity as well. It was by chance. It wasn't by design.
Of course.
It was by chance.
Everything fell into place.
Yeah.
I had massive concerns pre-fight about the weight scenario, the rehydration, all that type of thing.
And you still do.
I still
do as well.
And we got away with it.
Yeah.
Why are we rolling the dice and doing it again? Now, okay, right? People will come up to me and they'll say it's a business and there's an amount of money involved in it. And if someone's throwing 10 million or 20 million or whatever amount of million it is at somebody, what would your answer be?
Or it was close enough to do it again.
Listen.
It was close in a certain way.
There was moments where this fight is close, of course.
I think Ben would win the second fight, by the way. I think he's got a massive chance if they make Eubank boil down again. Look how quickly he recovered afterwards. That's the problem.
This is the thing, right? If you ask a fighter, can you do this, can you do that, and if you do this and do that, we will give you 20 million quid for it, right? Every single fighter on the planet is going to say yes. There has got to be an authority in the game that look out for those people and say no.
I agree with you. And there's historicity with this. Look at Amir Khan against Canelo. Canelo was 20 pounds heavier than him.
Come on.
Virgil Hunter, Amir Khan's trainer, was saying, Amir, to win this, has to do everything right for every second of every minute of every round. I really don't want him to take the fight. Kell Brook against Gennady Golovkin gave his all for 2 or 3 rounds. There are weight divisions for a reason. You are absolutely right. Eubank Senior will be prodding me in the next couple of weeks. In fact, he said it at the end of our interview. I know I turned up. I know we created suspense, but do your job. And that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, but he's right to have those concerns.
No, I agree with you. But the problem is, it's crossed over, this fight. That's the problem.
Yeah,
and it is a problem.
Of course it's crossed over and it's grabbed the imagination of the casual fan, right? And it absolutely did, because when we were attending it at Tottenham, you saw dads and lads going to the gate, to the fight, like we don't normally see, groups of friends and all this type of thing that were proper bought into the story of the Ben Eubank. You've had it now.
No, but the fallout is still there. People are still discussing it. Look what a big star Conor Ben was in New York last weekend.
Listen.
And as a loser, by the way.
Right. On Eubank Jr., first and foremost, he won the fight. He dug deep. He found a way. He got the job done.
Yeah.
He comes out of it with a load of credit. But anybody watching that fight that's watched enough boxing knows full well he is no longer the guy for 160. That body is not working at that point. It needs to go to 168, all right? Just for his own health, if he's going to fight on. So therefore, the fight's at 168. As I've said, listen, people will say to me, well, he's never going to beat Canelo. Maybe not. But is this the opportunity to get Canelo to British soil and fight in a stadium? Would you buy a ticket for it? Even if you don't think Eubank Jr. is going to win it, would you buy a ticket for it? Yes, you would. Is there an opportunity for Billy Joe Saunders to come out of retirement and maybe get himself down to 168? Would you buy into that? Absolutely, yes, you would.
The kind of money that's going to get Eubank in the ring to not fight Conor Ben is Canelo rather than Billy Joe Saunders, in my view, right now. Even though the build-up to that will be fun, there's a lot of work to be done around Billy Joe Saunders, a lot of weight to be lost, maybe a comeback fight, first of all. But Canelo against Eubank sells. It sells big. He's a crosser outside the heavyweights, and I don't care what anyone says. Right now, Conor Ben and Chris Eubank Jr. are the biggest stars in British boxing, and it's being talked about around the world. Outside the heavyweights.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
65. We were there. It was extraordinary. It's one of them.
Listen, it was a great event.
It's an amazing stadium. The banks are incredible. When you looked around, it was an I was there moment, wasn't it?
It was a great event.
For sure.
And the lads delivered. There's no doubt about that. That's Eubank. That's my thoughts on Eubank Jr., what he should be doing, 168. From Conor's point of view, right? Everybody knows my rhetoric coming up to this particular situation and the shadow that still hangs over the scenario with him and what happened 2 years ago, all right? I would love transparency.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. I would absolutely love a bit of transparency with that in order to help Conor move forward with his career. Because as a fighter, what you saw in the ring at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, you can't help but admire what you saw.
Oh, it's inspirational. Very, very inspirational.
You can't help but admire that.
That's a man giving everything. Everything.
He never stopped trying to win. And there's a lot to absolutely admire in that. But analysing it, as many fights that we see, I look at that and I go, he's too small for this weight division. He was hitting him clean, and he didn't put him over once.
No.
So the power's not there at 160. Is it there at 154? Well, the jury's still out on that because he's had a couple of fights at 154 and we haven't seen him put anybody over there. At 147, it becomes a different conversation. Now, the reason why I'm encouraging Conor to consider going back down to 147 is because he's still young. He's in his 20s, young, so therefore it's not going to hurt his body as much.
They can't yo-yo.
No, I'm not saying yo-yo. I'm saying make a conscious decision now of attacking 147 because what he's done there, he's absolutely raised his stock. There's a lot of people now interested in watching him fight. He's absolutely changed my opinion on what level he might be able to achieve in the game because I thought maybe British, maybe European level. Now you're thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, you might be able to challenge. I know that Mario Barrios and Manny Pacquiao are doing their thing, but if he was to get a shot against...
He doesn't need them, though.
No, but what I'm saying is if he was to fight for a legitimate title against someone like a Mario Barrios, I think he would have a decent percentage chance of really making a dent in that fight. But, we know what fight is the fight. We saw Times Square last week, right? And few lads didn't deliver, did they? They didn't live up to it. If you were to now put Conor Benn in a ring with Ryan Garcia, if you were to make that fight...
Bring him here.
Whatever. Doesn't matter where it is.
Canelo and Eubank, Garcia and Ben.
Whatever.
Let's have it a week apart in the UK.
Wherever it is.
It's huge.
The majority of people consuming this show right now would look at that and go, a year ago, 2 years ago, before all this debacle, you'll go, Ryan Garcia will flatten him. Right? That's what the majority of people would say. Now it's not as straightforward.
Oh, no, his stock rose in terms of...
It's a proper fight.
I always thought that he would do very well against Mario Barrios anyway, even before this performance, because he is a guy that goes in there and fights people. He makes you fight them. And
You've never seen him fight like that, though. Not like that.
No, it was different. No, it was different because it was familial, it was grudge, it was lineage, all those things that they were bringing. And... I said it myself on our broadcast that I think he showed that he's world class in that performance because he stepped up.
On hearts, guts, and determination, no doubt.
And yes, exactly. But he's got world class qualities, and he showed that against a much bigger, much heavier man than himself. A man who was over a stone heavier than him in the ring, and that's really saying something.
He's got all the things that you can't teach. He's proven that. Yeah. All the things that you can't teach. Yeah. They are there.
He has the Dark Destroyer's
he's got the DNA,
and it's there.
Absolutely.
Both of them,
and you can refine certain things.
Them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They've done the legacies of their family names. Absolutely, the world are good. There's a couple of little things that you can iron out and make better as fighters, definitely. But for me, no rematch. Eubank Jr. 168, chasing big monster fights with the big names up there. And Conor Benn's got a chance at 147. Let's get back down there. And let's get into them people, and let's see if we can make some monster fights.
We're putting the world to rights now, and we're right. Of course we are, and I agree with you. But that ain't what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know that.
They'll fight again.
I know that as well. Listen, it's Fight Night Live. You've been listening to Anthony Cacace versus Leigh Wood on talkSPORT in partnership with DAZN. Don't forget to tune into next Saturday's massive heavyweight match between Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen. The rematch is on. It's on DAZN, and you can sign up at DAZN.com/boxing right now. We just alluded to Manny Pacquiao, didn't we? We'll talk about him next. Don't go anywhere. It's Fight Night on talkSPORT. Love it when we're in the studio, waxing lyrical about everything that's going on in the game. Yes, we've talked Eubank and Ben, and of course we brought you live commentary earlier on of Cacace versus Wood, which was a firecracker. One-sided firecracker, really. Anthony Cacace turning up in Nottingham and doing the business against the hometown hero. We'll have plenty of fallout on that, no doubt, throughout the course of the week on talkSPORT. Let's talk Manny Pacquiao. Listen, you've covered a lot of Manny Pacquiao's career. Been out to the Philippines with the man and followed him around the gaff and been around the big ones. He is a superstar, there's no doubt about that. He is a hero to the people of the Philippines. He has been retired for 4 years. He called time on his career 4 years ago to concentrate on a political career. It is, I believe, the vote for the Filipino Senate on Monday. In my opinion, hopefully he gets in, and therefore that takes his attention away from the world of boxing, because there is serious noise now escalating that Manny Pacquiao is going to end that 4-year hiatus, and he is going to be granted an opportunity to be fighting for the WBC welterweight championship of the world against the current champion Mario Barrios. Try and put all that in a box, mate, and make some sense out of it.
Well, if you go back in time, 50 years, early 90s, George Foreman had to have something like 19 fights to
get the
after
shot.
10 years away to come back and get the shot. And the late, great, let's call him George Foreman, of course, because he passed recently, age 76. He earned that spot back. He fought Evander Holyfield. He fought Michael Moore and won the title in the end to win the heavyweight championship back at the age of 45. Manny Pacquiao is 46. He's been given the step in by Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC, who are businessmen as much as sanctioning bodies. And I think in this instance, being a Pacquiao file as well, having covered him, like I said, for over a decade, and been to his flat in Los Angeles and been to the Far East with him, covered all his major fights, got to know the man very well, all the big fights, and be around him and admire him and what he is, because he's known as the welfare state in the Philippines. There isn't one, but he's known as it. Hundreds of people queued at the Wildcard Gym for just an autograph or a moment with him, same as General Santos City for donations. But he's being given the biggest donation here, this only ever in boxing 8-weight world champion. He's been given a step in, and I don't really agree with it because, I think there should be concerns. I know he's had exhibition bouts recently. He's been away for 4 years since being defeated by Ordenis Ugas, who bested him that night and surprised everyone. I don't know why he's coming back, other than maybe he wants more money to fund his welfare state stuff and his political ambitions. But I have to say it, and I don't like to say it, but I don't agree with it, Adam.
He's a fighter. So looking at him, listen, I'm never going to have a go at a fighter for wanting to fight, because that is the fire that is inside them, that is their calling to life, and that is what they've always wanted to do. I look at the people that are around this fighter that are supposed to love and care for him, and are maybe not giving him the right advice in this particular moment, and maybe thinking about themselves rather than him and his health. And I absolutely look towards the sanctioning body of the WBC. I think it's a move of greed. I think it's disgraceful that they are allowing... Listen, I know that he's a man of profile, and that's the reason why they're making this decision. There are fighters in the world in the welterweight division that have been paying their sanctioning fees for the last 4 years in order to get themselves in position in the rankings, in hopefully maybe getting an eliminator and fulfill their dreams of becoming a world champion for whatever it is worth, collecting that belt in the modern era. To allow a fighter that has been absent for 4 years to leapfrog all those fighters just because of his profile and just because of the revenues he can create, and therefore you then benefit from your sanctioning fee of 3% every single time this man fights, I think is absolutely diabolical that they are allowed to do this, and they are allowed to put this man in this position. It's a kick in the teeth to every single fighter in that division that has been paying those sanctioning fees and doing it the right way. Like I said, I've no problem with Manny Pacquiao wanting to fight. He's a fighter. But, one, the people around him need to love and care for him and give him better advice. And two, the people that are supposed to love and care for the sport and look after the sport need to do a better job. It's absolutely ridiculous that they're sanctioning a world title fight for the man.
Well, as you say, what this does, it epitomises the flaws in boxing and the administration of boxing. You cannot sanction him coming... You can sanction him coming back, but you can't sanction him. He's not even ranked in the top 15 of their... Of their groupings at the moment in the WBC. As you said, it's a shoe-in, it's a big money maker, it's utterly and totally wrong. I have nothing more to say about it. I will be watching it, of course, because that's what we do, because people say it's hypocritical of us to watch it. If I have to go and cover it, I'll go, exactly. But it's not something I really want to watch or want to see.
Do you think it happens? I mean, the noise is really strong.
I've been looking at the news stories. I came on.
I mean, we're talking big reputable companies in America that are reporting on this, and that normally tells me that it's happening.
Yeah. On Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday, got wind of it, and I just thought, oh, is this just another story of another comeback? But it is true. They are moving ahead with it. And
it's relatively soon, isn't it? It's July 19th, is it? Something 19th, in Vegas?
On the night we will be at Wembley Stadium doing Daniel Dubois against Alexander Usyk. So we're going to go home after a fantastic night at Wembley and watch a potential catastrophe.
What a night. A bit of live boxing, a bit of quality chat. Thank you very much for getting involved with the show. Social media is rampant with people and their opinions on everything that they've seen in Nottingham this evening and opinions of what is going on in the world of boxing. We just spoke Manny Pacquiao. We've just spoke about Eubank and Ben and what could come next for them. You will have seen this week that there's been quite a bit of chat about Anthony Joshua needing a little bit of work done on his elbow injury and therefore talking about having the summer off and not returning until the back end of the year. Does that kind of put in the bin? Or does it even make it more possible that we could see Joshua Fury at some point?
Well, I know there's people sighing and huffing and hawing out there right now and hissing maybe even at us, but talking about this because it feels like the eternal return. 2018 we first talked about those two fighting each other, and then Wilder and Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua not happening. Well, my feeling is that they've got a year left to do this fight. Next spring is possible.
Okay.
Riyadh season is possible. It's a fight I could see Turki Al-Sheikh buying into. He's talked about a 2-fight deal with Anthony Joshua. I'm not sure, but I believe that includes Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury could get out of bed any morning and go, ooh, I'm ready. There are signs that he's starting to revolve again and get interested. But I do think, for the sake of this happening, I think if Deontay Wilder beats Tyrrell Herndon June the 27th in Wichita, Kansas, and I expect him to pull the trigger, I would not be surprised to see Anthony Joshua face Deontay Wilder first late this summer.
Curveball. All right.
Would you still be interested in seeing it?
I don't know, mate.
Are you still interested in Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, which is one of the biggest... Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
No, listen.
All right, so
listen.
You must be interested.
The reason why I say that is because I think the heavyweight division has really had a good kick up the backside in the last 2 years, right? And we have got a fight. Now, listen, I thought that the right man to be fighting Alexander Usyk would be Joseph Parker or Caballero getting in with Daniel Dubois. But if you think about it logically, the biggest threat probably to Usyk is that right hand of Daniel Dubois. So I think we've got kind of the best fight in the heavyweight division, fight on British soil coming up in the summer. Do you not agree with that? In Usyk
I'm really
versus
interested
Dubois?
in the fight, but I'm very interested in what is equally big for the era in Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fighting each other, Adam. It has that kind of crossover appeal to it.
No doubt.
And that's what
It's got the Ben Eubank vibe.
You can't say that it would fill out Wembley Stadium.
I'm not saying it won't.
It would complete an era.
Yeah, but you're talking commercially now. Commercially, it works.
I'm
It's
talking
fantastic.
commercially. I'm talking about two boxers I want to see in a ring together. And I do want to see them in a ring because I don't want to end this era where we haven't got a Riddick-Bowe Evander Holyfield fight. Riddick-Bowe Lennox Lewis fight that we never got in the professional ranks. When you think about some,
but listen,
the trilogy with Bowe and Holyfield was amazing. We could get,
but you will admit, right, that if we do get it, it is a lot rather than getting the prime guys. It's more Mayweather Pacquiao.
How far? They're not that far.
Come on,
no, it's a lot earlier than that. We know those guys were 5 years past their prime.
So how many years are these two past their primes?
Not that far. Tyson Fury's just had two fantastically erudite fights, close fights with Alexander Usyk just last year, who's the king of the era. Anthony Joshua had a big comeback year last year before he lost to Daniel Dubois. I don't think they are so far gone that this is a...
Are they evenly matched?
Yeah, I think Anthony Joshua's got opportunities early in the fight. I think Tyson Fury is the big favourite because of the way he boxes. I think he potentially stops Anthony Joshua, but don't write Joshua's ambition off and his ability to... One of the things that's definitely happened is the older legs of Tyson Fury. How Anthony Joshua comes back from that excoriating defeat to Daniel Dubois is a big thing. It's a huge fight, Adam. Come on. It's huge.
You're not listening to me. I've just said.
I am listening to
you.
you.
Not. Commercially, it is the biggest fight in British boxing.
In boxing terms, it's a big fight.
It is not bigger than the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world.
It will still garner more views. It will still be a bigger event in the UK, in my view.
Right, now you're talking to me about business, right? You're talking to me about the business.
About people that want to see it.
Exactly, business. That's business. I'm talking about the quality of
sport as well.
I'm talking about the quality of the fight. There is nothing bigger than the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world. Would you agree with that?
No, because Daniel Dubois didn't have the IBF title. Usyk had all of them.
Usyk's
One of them was stripped
he's still undisputed. He's still undisputed because Usyk's the man.
I agree.
Usyk is the man. He's the undisputed champion in my eyes. Right now, as we sit here today, taking on Daniel Dubois, skill for skill, where they're both at, given who they've beaten, that is the best fight in the heavyweight division.
It's an interesting fight, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Daniel Dubois is a different guy to the guy he fought 2 years ago.
That's the best fight. I'm not saying that Fury AJ is bigger, not bigger than it, because it is. Of course it is. More people will want to...
it's the biggest fight in the heavyweight division. I agree, and it is the right fight for the undisputed title. Daniel's probably the most dangerous contender against Usyk right now because he's a power puncher in both hands. He's tremendously... ascendant in his career right now.
He believes in himself.
Rather than a trilogy fight with Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. But I still think if there's enough... I think the thing is with Joshua and Fury, and the reason why some juice has gone out of them is they're so wealthy now. They don't need to fight anymore. But for me, from my personal perspective, I would be really disappointed. And I think the British public would be, and I think the sporting public would be, if we don't see those two in a ring together.
I think
we will see them in a ring together.
Listen, I think commercially it's massive.
Yeah, but the trouble is it commercially big enough without Turki Al-Sheikh and the Saudi Arabians to make enough money to get them in there? Because without that, if it does a couple of million pay-per-view, if it sells out Wembley Stadium, they're probably still only earning 35 million each.
Only?
I know.
Only?
But the trouble is what they've been earning. It's fascinating anyway.
That's us for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in to us. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of live action early in our conversation off the back of it. We'll be back next week bringing you obviously everything that's coming out of the carpet box. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on with Fisher and Allen. There'll be plenty of fallout throughout the course of the week. Enjoy your weekend.